Welcome to our ultimate guide for the 21 best farms in Minecraft Bedrock 1.21 edition. These are the full videos to the best 21 farms that I think exist inside of Minecraft Bedrock, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. In this video, we're going to build the best Enderman XP Farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This farm will give tons of ender pearls and levels in just minutes, so make sure you stick around till the end for this one. Since this farm is in the end, you are of course going to have to go to the end and kill the ender dragon before building this farm. Once you've done both of those things, go to any one of the sides of the island, doesn't really matter which side. I recommend building it near the obsidian platform that you spawn in on, just so you don't have to go very far, but make sure it is the very edge of the island. And we need to go all the way down to level y equals 1 and then build really far away. So the easiest way to get that far down is to place a bucket of lava and wait for it to flow all the way down until you see it stops flowing, and then place a bucket of water beside it, and that'll create a cobblestone pillar going all the way down. Alright, so it looks like the lava stopped flowing. Now I'm going to go ahead and place a water bucket, and you will see that this cobblestone platform is being created all the way down. And once we get down there, we can just take some ladders and place them going all the way up to be able to get up and down from the farm. If you have an elytra, you can skip this step. You can also use a bubble elevator, anything like that. As you can see in the top left, the middle number, I'm at y equals 1. That is where you're going to be. You can actually place blocks down to 0, so y equals 1 is the lowest you can get. And like I mentioned, I'm now going to place ladders going all the way up. Now that we've got this part done, coming back down to the bottom, making sure this is built out of leaves so no mobs or endermans can spawn on this, you want to go 2 stacks of blocks or 128 blocks in the opposite direction of your island. Now that you've got this bridge going about 2 stacks away from the island, start off by placing down 2 chests at the end of the bridge, with 9 hoppers leading into those chests. You now want to place 3 blocks on that side like that, and then come over here and place 4 blocks over here. Now place 5 blocks going this way. Doesn't have to be 5 blocks, I just find that this is the right size to make sure that I don't fall off of the platform when I'm killing the enderman. And then just fill in this area that we've created. Now what I like to do is extend it 2 blocks this way as well. Now that you've got this platform built, build 3 blocks up, breaking those 2, and then copy this area that we've done down here. Now that you've got this platform up here, that's the same size as the one down here. Again, making sure that it's 2 blocks high so no enderman can spawn. Come to this 3x3 section of hoppers on the ground here. Look up and break those blocks. I'm actually going to go ahead and extend this out 1 more block this way. This doesn't matter at all. I just like the look of the farm being even. Now go ahead and grab all of your carpets. Go 1 block away from the hole. So skip this block and you want to place 2 high carpets on every single block. The reason we do this is to stop endermen from spawning or teleporting down here and being able to jump down and kill us, or just slowing down the rates of the farm. There we go. Now we have these 2 high carpets on the entire platform, excluding this middle ring and of course the 3x3 hole in the middle. Coming to the middle area now, build up 2 blocks, break the bottom one, and then make a ring of blocks copying the ring that we have down here. So I'm gonna do this. And then you want to do that same thing. So go up 2 blocks, break the bottom one, and then make a ring here. And you want to copy this same pattern until you get in between the levels y equals 40 and 44. The reason you do this is because anything lower than 40 and they're not going to be one hit, anything higher than 44 and they're going to die from the fall. So make sure when you get up to the top, you're in between y equals 40 and 44. And there we go. As you can see, we now have these rings going all the way up. I brought mine up to y equals 42. I would recommend doing the same because like I said, it's in between the levels of 40 and 44. Now what we want to do is on any one of the 4 sides, build out 13 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then do that for all 4 of the sides. Once you've got 13 blocks going out in all of the directions, you can see that endermen are starting to spawn. So it might be a good idea to go into peaceful for now, just so you don't accidentally die while building the farm. But what you want to do once you have the 13 blocks going out in all the directions is connect the edges and then make one massive platform. Just don't fill in these middle 9 blocks. And there we go. Now we have this massive platform up at the top here. And if you look down this 3x3 hole, we've got these rings going all the way down to the ground there, where the endermen are going to be able to get killed and we can collect the XP and the ender pearls. The next thing we have to do is actually get the endermen attracted towards the middle here. This part is a little complicated, so make sure you watch the video very carefully. So the first step to this is placing 8 trapdoors in the middle here. It doesn't matter which side you place it, as long as you do have 8 trapdoors. And then go ahead and open them all up. This is so the endermen walk towards the middle. They think this is a full block, and so they walk on it, and then they end up falling down our chamber. Now on any one of the sides, build 3 blocks so you're over top of the center. Go 2 blocks up, and then break all of those. You then want to place an iron bar right there with a carpet on top, and then you can break that block. Now what you want to do is make a box around this area. Now what I like to do is place one block higher than the carpet and then the rest of the blocks the same level as the carpet. And then you want to box this area in, because what we end up having to do is get an endermite inside of here. And this endermite will actually attract the enderman towards the middle. But since it's high up, the enderman won't be able to kill them. They just run towards it and they fall down that chamber. So you want to make an area something like this. Doesn't actually matter how it looks, because we are just going to end up breaking this box later anyways. So what you want to do is take a rail, place it there, take a minecart, place it there. And now what you want to do is take as many ender pearls as it takes. I'm going to extend this up one more block. And you want to get an endermite inside of this minecart. Now it might take a lot of ender pearls. One thing that you should make sure you do is have your game on hard mode. I've done it before where my game's on peaceful and I try stacks of ender pearls and it never ends up spawning. And eventually I realize I'm on peaceful. So make sure you're on easy, normal, or hard for this step. Okay, so it took me 34 throws to get this endermite. So trust me guys, this can take quite a while. Luckily we're making an enderman farm, so you shouldn't have too much of an issue with the ender pearls, but trust me, it does take some time, so just keep throwing. Eventually it'll end up spawning, and now all you have to do is take this minecart, push it, he'll be inside of the minecart, and now you can go ahead and break all of these blocks. Now one more thing you should do really quickly before the endermen start to spawn is take a bunch of carpets and place it over top of these hoppers so the XP doesn't get stuck inside of them. It all goes into your inventory. And there you go. That is the entire farm complete. Now obviously if you have looting, you're going to get better drops. But to use the farm, all you have to do, like I mentioned, is slap the guys once. They're going to die. They'll drop all of their XP that you can collect, and all of the ender pearls go inside of this chest. Well, that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, you could download this world. It's the first link in the description. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. This is the ultimate gold XP farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Not only does it automatically kill the mobs and get you from level 0 to 30 in 1 minute, but it also auto sorts all of the loot, and it crafts the golden ingots and nuggets into gold blocks. You really can't get much better. Let's get straight into the video. Alright, so there are several parts to this farm. There's of course the portals, which is going to spawn the mobs. There's the auto sorter, which is going to sort the items. And then there's the auto crafting component. Now, of course, you need the actual farm. For the auto sorter and the auto crafter, I highly recommend you at least build the sorter. And the crafter is pretty cool, so I would definitely recommend building that as well. But of course, you don't need to build those. So if you don't want to, you can just go ahead and skip that part. You can see where all of the parts stop and end. It is in the timestamps down in the description or on the timeline of the video. With that out of the way, the first thing you want to do is build up 8 blocks off the ground. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then from there, what you want to do is take some ladders to get up. This can also be scaffolding, whatever you want to do. Now go 2 blocks to one side, 1 block to the other side, and then 5 blocks out. So you should have a 4x6 platform. And then of course you want to go ahead and fill that in. Just like that. There we go. We're now going to make a Trident killer for this farm. Now, if you don't want to use a Trident killer, that is absolutely okay. However, this farm is really, really efficient, so I highly recommend adding a Trident killer. If you need more Tridents, check out the video right before this one. What you want to do is place down 1 piston right there, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston like that. You then want to take an observer and place it down so the arrow is facing into the piston, and then again do this for all 4 of the spots. And then finally what you want to do is take a redstone torch and put it on the side of the pistons, and once you get all 4 placed down, you're going to see the pistons be pushed in a circle like this, and then you can take your trident, throw it down, and this is your Trident killer done. You can now go ahead and take a lever, put it on the front there, and then click to turn, oh don't fall down, click to turn that off for now because we're not going to need it running the whole time. The next thing you want to do is place down 2 pieces of glass right there so we can stand here and still collect the XP. And then copy this just like that. And then what you want to do is take this up 9 more blocks. So it's 10 blocks from this Trident killer or 11 blocks from this bottom platform. Now coming up to the top of the chamber, the first thing you want to do is fill in these corner blocks. And then from there, in whichever direction you want, I'm going to go in this direction just so I don't go over top of the place I'm standing. You want to copy this. So the first thing you want to do is build out 8 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up 1 and 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then up 1 and 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just like that. You're now going to want to come over to another side like this and count out 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you want to copy this same pattern that we did here for the entire stretch of blocks. Alright, once you've got your path looking like this, the next thing we're going to do is make walls around the structure to not only hold the water in, but also, of course, the zombie piglins. So what you want to do is on this block here, build up 5 on the lower part, not up there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you want to bring this all the way over to the other side. Just like that. There you go. And then you want to fill that wall in. And then, of course, do that over here and on the back and front as well. And there we go. All right, so we now have this box around our platform that is 5 blocks tall down here, 4 tall there, and 3 tall there. Now what I'm going to suggest you guys do is build an infinite water source off to the side for this next part, because we are going to need quite a few buckets of water. There we go. What you want to do is come down to this area first of all and break these 10 blocks. You then want to place 8 blocks off of the chamber here. So that's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, just like that. Take one sign and place it down right there. One sign right there. And then turn around and place down 2 buckets of water just like that. You then want to run all the way to your end over here and place down more buckets of water. And you'll see the water flows over the first bump, over the second bump, and then should stop perfectly right here. There we go. Now I feel like this is a great time to mention if something's not lining up, if you just want to make sure the farm works before you actually build it, anything like that, you could download this exact world that I'm playing on. It's the first link in the description. With that, let's get back into the video. For now, of course, you can go ahead and break your infinite water source, as we're not going to need it anymore for this build. One more thing that I should mention, we're going to be building the portals right now, the nether portals. Now, a lot of people ask me if you can do multiple portals, and a lot of people send me photos of it. So yes, you can do multiple portals. Some of my other subs have done like 8, 10, 12 portals. So if you guys can beat that, definitely send it to me in my Discord. But with that, let's get into this design, which is going to be a 2 portal design, which will still get you level 0 to 60 in a couple minutes. I mean, this farm is incredible, so make sure to stick in there for this. So what you want to do is come to the front of the farm here, come over to this corner and count over 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then count down 2. So 1, 2, and place down a block with a piece of obsidian there, 3 blocks off, and then another piece of obsidian just like that. And these are going to be the 2 portals. What you want to do is take both of these paths and go 21 blocks, 21 pieces of obsidian in this direction, and you should stop right in front of this block. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, which is going to make 22 total. That's perfect. And now what you want to do is go up 21 blocks as well. 21, and then you want to connect these corners to make a 22 by 22 portal, and then of course do the same thing on this side as well. And there we go. You should now have 2 massive 22 by 22 portals sitting inside of this box. Now, like I just mentioned, of course, you can do more or less portals. You can do 1, you can do 20, whatever you feel like doing. That is the portals done. Now the next thing we're going to work on is breaking and relighting the portals. This farm works by a funny mechanic in Minecraft, where every time that you light and break a portal, every time you light a portal, there's a chance that a zombie piglin comes through for every single one of these squares. That is why this portal is so big, because for every single one of these squares, there is a chance for a piglin to come through. So if I turn my game off of peaceful into hard mode, and I just spam this a couple times, you will eventually start to see a few zombie piglin falling through the portal, just like that. And so the faster we do this and the bigger the portal is, the more zombie piglin that are going to be coming through. So a lot of you guys also ask me if you can make the portal smaller, and yes you can, but it will significantly slow down the rates. But with that, we're going to start with the breaking process for the portal. So what you want to do is place down 1 block with a redstone torch on top, place another block on top and a redstone torch, and repeat this process until you have 10 redstone torches in the line. Alright, perfect, and there you go. So the top redstone torch should be turned off. If it's not turned off, make sure that down here you started with a block. So block, redstone torch, and you can see we have 10 redstone torches all the way up to the top. The next thing you want to do is take a sticky piston and place it facing upwards on top of that, with an observer facing in this direction. You now want to come over here and place down a temporary block with an observer facing in that direction, just like that. The next thing you want to do is come down here and build out these blocks until you are in the middle of the portals, which I believe is 5. Yeah, you want to build out 6 blocks from underneath of there, and then build in 4 blocks just like that, so you are 1 block into the portal. Now you want to take a dispenser and place it facing in both directions like this, with buckets of powdered snow. Now again, a lot of people ask me if this has to be powdered snow, and it does have to be powdered snow. Now, if you can't find powdered snow, water might work if you move the water all the way down to the bottom of the portal here so it doesn't have time to flow. The farm will be significantly less efficient, like almost 50% less efficient if you use water, but if you cannot find powdered snow to save your life, then water will still work in the meantime. With that out of the way, the next thing you want to do is take a redstone line and bring it all the way to the end there, and then on top of both of those. Now, the final thing we want to do is drop it down here and place a lever on the side. Now, how this is going to work, you can see the observers are not touching. Whenever we flick this lever, that sticky piston will shoot up, which is then going to create a redstone clock, and you can see these snow buckets are being dispensed and picked back up. And this is what is going to be lighting and breaking, or not lighting, sorry, just breaking the portal. We need to do the lighting of the portal next. But of course, for now, you can go ahead and turn this off. All right, so like I just mentioned, we're going to get started on the breaking portion of the farm now. So for this, go a ways above this here. I'm going to go up 5 blocks, although it doesn't actually matter how high up you go. So just somewhere like that, there you go. And you want to place a block on the side of one of the portals. Now what you want to do is take an observer and place it facing in, not that direction, facing in that direction. So you can see the faces like this, or the arrow is facing away from the farm. You then want to place down 5 observers facing in, don't fall, 5 observers facing in this direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see all of the arrows are facing in the opposite direction of that first one. Now what you want to do is take some solid blocks and you want to place these around the observers just like that. Now what you want to do is take 5 trapdoors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn around and do the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you want to open all of these trapdoors up just like that. Now place 6 blocks on one side, 6 blocks on the other side like that. And then you want to go ahead and place some blocks going across like this. Now the next thing you want to do is place lava inside of here, and this will then catch the trapdoors on fire, lighting the portal. Now if you notice that, it's going to catch them on fire, which means, and this is 50% of your guys' mistakes from the last videos, you need to have fire spread in your settings turned on. Coming down here, fire spreads has to be turned on, otherwise this farm will not work. As well, when you're doing this, after you've placed down the lava, do not cover it up, otherwise it will not work as well. But like I mentioned, take your bucket of lava, place it in the middle there, and then eventually you'll see these portals will turn on. As you can see, both of the portals have just turned on. Now this is actually that part done. I'm going to go down here just to show you guys how the farm works. If you flick this, it is going to be lit and broken constantly, and then after a couple seconds, you'll start to see a bunch of zombie piglin flowing through this portal. It's going to be slow off the start, but in about 10 seconds, you'll see a bunch of them coming through. Yep, so we can clearly see that this farm is working with a lot of zombie piglin coming through the farm, but for now, I'm going to turn this off because I do not have the chest collection system set up. However, you can go ahead, turn on your Trident killer just to test that it's working. And if I go into survival mode, you can see that I am able to collect the XP through this glass as well. So like I mentioned, we're going to get started on the chest collection system now. Now for this part, you can do 2 chest collection systems if you want, and I highly recommend doing that because this farm is so efficient that sometimes one area isn't enough to keep up. However, I'm just going to do 1 because setting up 2 auto crafters seems like a pain. So the first thing you want to do is come underneath of your 2x2 area for the Trident killer, and you want to replace all of these blocks with mud. This is so the items can fall straight through and we don't have to put a hopper minecart below. Now around one of the first front 2 blocks, whichever side you want to go in, you want to build down 2 hoppers like that. You then want to build off 4 blocks, break those first 3 blocks, and then go ahead and place 3 hoppers leading in this direction. You're also going to want to take this hopper and change it so it's leading into that one. You can now break that end block, and you want to go underneath of these N3 hoppers and build down 2 more hoppers just like this. Now these prongs, or whatever you're going to call this, are not going to stay facing down. We're going to change this direction. We're just going to set it up like this temporarily. Now coming behind these 3 hoppers, you want to place 3 blocks like that, 3 there, and then 3 there as well. You then want to build down 1 block and out 1 block like that, and then place 2 more blocks there. Now in the middle row here, you want to come underneath and place a row of blocks there, and then you're also going to want to place a row of blocks right there. Now in this row of blocks, you're going to want to take 3 repeaters and face them in that direction, just like that. You then want to take 3 redstone torches and place them underneath of those blocks there, and then go ahead and take 12 redstone dust, or 9 redstone dust, sorry, and place it on top of those blocks, just like that. You now want to grab your 3 redstone comparators and place them down facing in this direction so the 2 sticks are facing towards the hopper. Now go ahead and break these 3 hoppers, and you want to place them leading into this comparator. This is very important. You want to place it so you can see the little stick leading into the comparator, not down, not in another direction. It needs to face into it. This is again a lot of your guys' problems when you're building the auto sorter. So it should now be looking like this. And also you want to make sure these redstone torches are on the side of this block, not on the ground block. We're now going to decide which one of these things is for which item. So that in this first hopper, the one that's leading into the comparator, what you want to do is take 4 blocks, any item does not matter, and put 1 in those 4 spots. And then you want to take golden nuggets and place it there. And you should see that this flows all the way down to 41 items, and that is exactly what you want. Again, if this does not stop at 41 items, you can download my world. It is the first link in the description. But again, there you go, that is 41 items. So you want to do the same thing here, do that, and then with gold in this one, and then come over here, do this, and rotten flesh. If you don't want rotten flesh, you can just skip this part. But once you've done it, you should see that these comparators turn on, and this is exactly how it should look. We're now properly sorting all of these items. So if I go ahead and turn on this Trident killer here, and let these guys die, you're going to see all of the items will be picked up, flown through here, and then they will go down into this bottom hopper. You can see we have the rotten flesh there, we have the gold going into there, and then we have the golden nuggets right here. Now that this part is done, we can go ahead and get started on the auto crafter portion. Now this is going to make it so you can AFK here for, oh, didn't mean to break that. Make it so you can AFK here for way longer because it's going to turn all these nuggets into gold and all of the gold into golden blocks. So what's left of the nuggets and the ingots is just a bunch of golden blocks, which of course take up a lot less space. Now, if you don't care about this part, you can go ahead and skip to the time on screen right now, or you can check the chapter below. However, I'm going to build it because just having the auto crafter is such a cool thing to have. All right, auto crafter time. Let's get started. So over top of this golden nugget, what you want to do is look in this direction like this, and then place a crafter like that. So you can see the little mouth is facing in this direction. Now behind this, what you're going to want to do is place down 2 blocks like that, 2 blocks there. And then you're going to want to place 2 blocks in that direction as well. So you should have 5 blocks placed like this. Now what you want to do is take a redstone comparator and place it so the 2 sticks are going into it like that. And then you want to take another one and place it down right there. Now what you want to do is take a crafter, place it right there, and then click all 9 of these spots so they're all highlighted. You then want to go ahead and place down a repeater right there, a piece of redstone there, a solid block there, and then a solid block right there. Now I know this looks confusing, I don't even understand it, so don't ask me to explain it. All I can tell you guys is when the items are flown into here, this system is going to do a Minecraft redstone thingy, and it's going to wait for all of these spots to be filled up. I'm actually going to demonstrate because it just makes a lot more sense. So when the golden nuggets go into here, they'll flow through into this crafter and then be shot out as a gold ingot. This is then going to go into another crafter, which is going to turn it into gold blocks, which is what we're going to set up right now. So for this, what you want to do is come over to the second hopper here and build down 2 hoppers like that, so all the sticks should be leading straight down into each other. You now want to take another crafter and place it like that, so again the mouth is facing in this direction. Now again, coming behind here, you want to take a comparator and place it down like that. Place 1 comparator right there with another auto crafter, it doesn't matter which direction this one's facing, and then do the same thing, press all 9 of those spots. You now want to take another repeater and place it down just like that, with a piece of redstone right there, a block right there, and a block just like that. Now the final thing you want to do is set up the final chest and hopper. So go ahead, place down your chest, and this is where the gold blocks are going to flow into, and then go ahead and take a hopper and lead it into that. Now finally, off of this rotten flesh chest, you're going to want to place 1 down there as well, or I recommend placing down 2 chests. So this is your rotten flesh chest, and then this is your gold chest. A lot of people don't care about rotten flesh, just like me, so if you don't care about rotten flesh, you can go ahead and just destroy this whole segment here, and all of the rotten flesh will get burnt. But there we go, that is the auto crafter portion. I posted a community tab with a photo of it, and you guys were like, it's so complicated, and so I made a more simple design. Listen, I don't do redstone, okay? This was a lot, this took like 2 hours to figure out, so if you're enjoying, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. With that, there we go. The auto crafter portion is done, and we are getting very, very close to being done this farm. So for this part, you're going to want to come to this top hopper here, place 2 blocks out like that, and then break that one, and then go up 1 block and down 1 block just like that. You're now going to want to place a redstone torch on the back of that block there. Go up 1 more block and then over 2 just like that, and then break that block. There we go. You now want to take a redstone repeater and place it facing in that direction. You should see that's lit. And then go ahead and take a dispenser, place 2 blocks down like that, so it is in the same level as the hopper. They're leading into it, and you can see it is facing straight down. And then go ahead and you can see all of the items are flowing into this dispenser, so that's perfect. What you want to do is place 1 block right there, 1 block right there, and then 1 block right there. And now I'm actually going to replace these blocks with glass, although it doesn't matter if you use glass or a solid block. I just like to see the items getting burnt. Now the final thing you want to do is take a bucket of lava, place it inside of there, and then close it off. And of course, all of the items that now flow, they are not a nugget, an ingot, or rotten flesh. So in other words, just the golden swords are going to go into here and be burnt by the lava. Hey, one more thing I did forget to mention. If you want to be able to open up this chest, you either want to place a second hopper down here, and then you'll have the chest lower, or you can just replace this block with glass, and then you can open up that chest. Now you can take a lever, place it on the front there, and then turn that off to stop this if you want, but it doesn't really matter. You can just leave this running forever. And there you go. The entire farm is completed. Now, to use the farm, I'm going to clear my inventory. All you have to do is flick this lever and then make sure this is turned on. Now, it's also more efficient if you hold out a looting 3 sword. Because of course, since we did throw down this trident, we are going to get the looting 3 effect. So if I go into survival mode here, you can see I'm already at level 15 and these zombie piglins are flowing down here. If I fly up here, you can see a ton of them coming through the portal. This is perfect, absolutely what we want to see. And then of course, coming down here again, the farm has not even been on for that long. I'm already coming up on level 20. And then if I drop down here as well, you should start to see in this crafter, golden nuggets are building up. And in this one, golden ingots are showing up. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys. And then once those end up filling up, of course, we are going to get some gold blocks down inside of there. So I'm just going to stay here for 1 more second. Already at level 21. This farm is absolutely insane. Now, as you can see, my piglin are dying pretty slowly. If you want to speed up this process, you can throw more tridents into here. You can have a maximum of 3 tridents before it starts to not make a difference. So I recommend throwing 3 tridents in here because, as you can see, lots of piglin are building up here, and the farm is so efficient that 1 trident actually isn't enough. But look at that, in just a minute at using this farm, I'm already coming up on level 30. Now, as you can see, this farm's actually so efficient, the zombie piglin are getting stuck back there and they're not dying quick enough. So what you can actually do is take multiple tridents, up to 3 of them, and throw them in there to kill them faster, and I highly recommend doing that. But as you can see, I'm already at Y level 30, and if I drop down here, coming inside of this chest, you can already see gold blocks are stacking up here, and then all of the rotten flesh is going inside of this chest. Dang. Unfortunate timing, but that's okay because we are done the video anyways. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, you could download this exact world. It's the first link in the description. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. I went AFK at this insane improved mob XP farm for half an hour and got this many drops, which is this much loot every single hour. Not even talking about the XP the farm gives you. This farm is insane and you need to check it out. Here's how to build it for Minecraft Bedrock. Before we actually get started with building this farm, there are a couple different layer types that you can build with different spawning mechanisms, and I'm going to show you guys that right now. There are 3 different types of layers you can build when building this farm. 1, 2, or 3. 3 being the most efficient, 1 being the least efficient. Now I say least efficient, however, when I built this farm over there, you can't see it, but I built it right back there. I did 7 layers with this layer type and still got 8 stacks of gunpowder, a ton of bones, tons of arrows and string, everything with this. So it's still very efficient. It just means that this layer over here is a little more efficient. I'm going to get into what all 3 of these layers do and how they work. If you don't want to listen to this part, if you don't care, go ahead and skip to the time on screen right now. The first layer, super simple. It's literally just a layer, the mobs spawn and get pushed towards the middle. Nothing special. The second layer is where we get into the fun part. So how this farm works is we actually have scaffolding right here with flowing water over top. Now zombies, skeleton, and creepers, they're all going to spawn, get pushed by the water, and fall down here. But the problem is with spiders is I don't think I have any spider spawn eggs on me, but if I spawn a spider underneath of here, you can see they sit down here. Now eventually they are going to jump up to here and be pushed in, but sometimes these spiders can slow down the rate to the farm. So what we have is soul sand here. The reason we have soul sand is because now we have a bubble elevator. So when the spiders are walking, they're going to be walking underneath of here, and instead of waiting for them to jump up here, this soul sand is going to push them up. So all of this stuff that we have down here is just to make sure that the spiders don't clog up the rates. The third one over here is the exact same thing, just even better. Ice, mobs can spawn on it, but they cannot path find on ice, meaning they spawn on ice, but they want to find a solid block. So they spawn on ice, they walk towards this block, they don't like the ice, so they walk towards this block, and then eventually they are going to walk either towards the middle or again get pushed up by this soul sand. So all of this spawn stuff that we have here is just for the spiders. All the other mobs are going to be fine. It just means that if you build this one over here, some of the spiders might sit around for about a minute before they actually end up getting pushed down, compared to this one when they only sit here for maybe 10 or 15 seconds. So again, this is the most efficient, but for this tutorial, I'm going to do this version back here because it's the easiest and still gives some really good rates. Now that you've picked your layer type, we can go ahead and get started on the actual farm. The first thing you want to do is go up about 20 blocks into the air. This number doesn't really matter. You can go however high you want. I think that looks about good. And I'm going to take some ladders and bring them all the way up so we can get up and down from the farm. But if you have an elytra, that'll work too. If you want to do a staircase, bubble elevator, anything like that, that's okay as well. Now coming back up to the top of your pillar, we can get started on the first layer. The first thing you want to do is go 8 blocks out in one direction, turn around, and then go 8 blocks out in the other direction as well. Once you have that, you want to go 16 blocks in the direction away from the ladder. 14, 15, 16, there you go. And now what you want to do is connect the two edges and then fill it in to make a big 17 by 17 square. If I didn't mention, this doesn't have to be made out of smooth stone, it can be made out of any solid block. Now that you've got this platform, come in front of the ladder and count in 8 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Break the 8th block and then 2 blocks like that. And then you want to break the blocks to the sides as well, so you should have a 3x3 hole in the center of your platform. So now's when you want to decide which type of layer you're going to do. Earlier in the video, I mentioned the 3 types. Here are the schematics on screen. You want to take whichever one you're doing and fill that in for this area. Like I mentioned, I'm doing the first option because it's plenty efficient for me, but you can do whichever one you want. Now that you've got your first layer completed, what you want to do is go up 3 blocks, break the bottom 2, and then copy this platform that we've done down here at this level, making sure that there's a 2-block height. Now you want to build as many layers as you want. I recommend doing about 7 to 8 levels because that's going to give you about 8 stacks of gunpowder, a ton of bones, a ton of arrows, everything like that. But you can do up to about 11 or 12 before the farm starts to hit the mob cap. So do however many you want. You could do 1 or 2 even if you don't have that many resources. As you can see behind me, I have built 8 layers for the farm. That is the amount that I've decided to go with. But again, you can do as little or as many layers as you want. Now come up to your first layer, place 3 blocks here, and then take 9 fence gates and place them in the middle. This can also be signs, it doesn't really matter. And then you want to go ahead and open all of them up and you can break those 3 blocks. There you go. And then with this middle one, you can actually go ahead and break it because we don't need it. And now you should have 8 of these fence gates in the middle, and you want to repeat that step for every single layer. Really quick disclaimer for the next part of the video, I actually had these built on the wrong level. You want to build them up right where I just said to build them. Just know that for these next couple steps, I am going to have these built on the wrong level. We now need to make a wall around our farm. So there's 2 different ways you can do it. I like to use glass around the farm because I like to see what's happening inside of the farm. But the thing is, if you use glass, light can still get in. And so if you want the farm to work during daytime, I'm going to have to make a roof over top of it. But if you don't want to do this and you want to save the blocks, just go ahead and make this out of solid blocks, and then you're not going to have to make that roof. But for me, like I mentioned, I'm going to use glass, and then I'll just show you guys how to make a roof at the end. So like I mentioned, if you're making the wall, just make it 2 blocks high, covering the open spaces. You don't have to do these blocks, although I am going to do it because I think it looks nicer. So there you go. We now have a wall surrounding our platform. The reason no mobs are spawning for me is because I'm on peaceful, but if you made this out of solid blocks, you might start to see that mobs are spawning. Now, whether you use glass or a solid block, for this top layer, to make sure it works, you want to make a roof over top of it. Next, you want to come inside of your farm, and you're going to want to place one piece of scaffolding on every single one of the blocks for every single layer. Now, I know this seems like a lot of materials, but trust me, it is absolutely worth it because this farm is incredible. Really quickly though, if you're enjoying, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, if you want to make sure the farm works before you actually build it, or if something's not lining up, anything like that, you could download this exact world that I'm playing on. It's the first link in the description. With that, let's get back into the video. Once you've got the scaffolding placed on every single one of your layers, go inside of the farm. I'm going to temporarily break those blocks and then replace them. And it might be helpful to make yourself an infinite water source, because what we now need to do is take one bucket of water and place it on every single one of the walls. Now, I know this seems like a lot of work, but trust me, this is the last step for the layers, so make sure to stay in there. All right, and once you've got all of your water placed, what you're going to see is when a mob spawns, it is able to be pushed by the water and it falls down your hole all the way down there. Now, one more thing that I should add, if you did one of the other methods with the soul sand or the ice, what you're going to want to do, I'm just going to place a piece of soul sand there and place my scaffolding back. You're going to want to make sure that you have a bucket of water placed inside of there to actually create this bubble elevator effect. You can see I have the bubbles. This is what's actually going to end up pushing the spiders up. So make sure on top of every single piece of soul sand, you have a bucket of water, and then go ahead and replace the scaffolding. If I come a little ways away from the farm, you can see mobs spawning on every single one of the levels, and then they fall down our killing chamber. Now it's time to actually get started with the Trident killer so we can automatically kill all of these mobs that are spawning. To get started with the Trident killer of the farm, you want to go underneath of the farm and then go into the middle of your 3x3 square. Now build down 4 blocks, and then you can go ahead and break those there, and then make a 3x3 square down here. There we go. And now you want to make walls connecting from here all the way down to here. Again, I'm going to use glass, but you can use any block that you want. It does not matter. I just like to see what's going on, and I like to watch the mobs die. Now that you've got this area built, you want to come underneath of this, go to one of the 4 corners, build down 2 blocks, and then on that 3rd block, you want to place a chest, and then 1 chest going away from your 3x3 platform, and then place 2 more double chests like that. And then underneath of your 3x3 platform, you want to place 3 more double chests just like that. Now that you've got your chests built, coming over here, you want to place 3 hoppers there, and then skipping these chests, you want to place 3 hoppers there as well. Now take rails and place them like that, with hopper minecarts on top of the rails. Now go ahead and break all of the rails. You'll know you're looking at the rail when it highlights. Try not to break the hopper or the hopper minecart. It can be kind of hard to do it. There you go. And then you want to take all of these hopper minecarts and kind of push them so they're in between the 3 hoppers just like that. And then of course do that for these 2 as well. We're just doing this to make sure that all of the items, when they drop inside of here, are picked up by this, evenly distributed between the hoppers and put inside of the chests. So there you go. I think that looks good. You now want to temporarily break all of these blocks, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the Trident killer. For this next part, it will be helpful to make a temporary ring of blocks around our 3x3 platform. And now come back to the front and we're going to get started. So start off by placing 2 regular pistons there, turn and place 2 pistons, turn and place 2 pistons, and turn and place 2 pistons, just like that. Oh, don't fall. You now want to take an observer and place it like that so the arrow is facing into the pistons, and then do that for all 4 of these spots. Just like that, there you go. And then take another observer and place it facing so the arrow is away from these pistons, and then do that for all 4 of these spots as well. Now take your solid block and place 4 blocks there, 4 blocks there, 4 blocks on that side, and 4 blocks here as well. You now want to take 2 pieces of redstone and place it behind the piston, Take your comparator and place it so the 2 prongs are facing away from the redstone, and then take 1 more piece of redstone dust and place it behind, just like that. And then of course do that for all 4 of the sides as well. That's 2 sides, the 3rd side, and then the 4th side. And once you finish placing that, you want to take 1 more block, place it down with the lever right there, and then once you flick this lever, flick it 1 more time, you'll see that this goes in a circle like this, but for now we can turn this off. Now take your 3 carpet, place 1 right there, 1 right there, and 1 right there, so it's kind of in an L shape. And then of course you can go ahead and replace all of these blocks so no XP or the mob loot can escape. And then all you have to do is flick this lever and you will see that the carpets get pushed around in a circle like this. Now the final thing we have to do, I'm going to turn this off for a second, is throw however many tridents we want on top of these carpets. I'm going to throw a couple, although 1 trident should be enough. Replace this, turn the lever on, and there you go, your entire farm's complete. Now this farm is really efficient, so it might not be a bad idea to expand this storage. If you want to do that, all you have to do is take some hoppers, place them underneath of these chests, and then place more chests underneath of the hoppers. Now, one more important thing to remember, if you did build this out of glass and not solid blocks, like I mentioned earlier, you are going to have to put a roof over top of the farm. To do this, you want to go to any one of the corners and go out 12 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then do that here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do that for all 4 in the corners, and then connect the edges and make a massive roof over top of the farm. Once you've got your roof, it should be working in daytime. The final thing you have to do is place a ton of torches up here to make sure that no mobs spawn up here and slow down the rates of your farm. Now, your AFK spot will vary for every single person. For me, I like to go about halfway at my farm and then 20 to 30 blocks away, but sometimes you'll have to AFK at the base, sometimes you'll have to AFK above the farm. It changes for every single person, so if it's not working, make sure to try standing at different spots. But as you're going to see, I stand here, hold up my looting 3 sword for the best rates. The mobs will start to spawn, they all fall down the chamber inside of this Trident killer. They are killed, I can stand here and collect the XP, and then of course all the drops are going to go down inside of these chests. Well, that's going to be all for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, again, you could download this exact world I'm playing on. It's the first link in the description. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. AFKing at this Trident XP farm for 5 minutes gave me 7 tridents, which is over 84 tridents an hour at this farm. I don't really know what else to say. Here's how to build it for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Before we get started with this farm, the first thing you want to make sure is that you're building it in the correct location. That correct location being over top of a body of water where you can see drown spawning below you. This is very, very important. You want to look around, make sure you can see drown spawning, otherwise drown might not be able to spawn inside of your farm. However, the first thing we want to do is actually build 50 blocks into the air, at least 50 blocks, just to make sure that none of the drowns or mobs in the water down here slow down the rates of the farm. We want all of the mobs to be spawning inside of our farm. So I'm going to use scaffolding and place it down, but of course you can use any block that you want, dirt with a ladder, or you can make a bubble elevator, whatever you want to do. I just find scaffolding the easiest though, because obviously you can just climb up it. Now, once you get up here to the top, you're going to want to go ahead and place down a solid block, and this block right here is going to be the start of the farm. Now, I'm going to go into creative mode really quickly just to show you guys why we build up so high off the ground. I have this resource pack installed right now. It is called Markers Pack by Foxy No Tail. I'm going to take an armor stand. There will be a link in the description, by the way, if you want to use this. A banner, and then just shift click with it, and this spawning sphere is going to show up. Now, what this spawning sphere tells us, this green sphere here, no mobs can spawn inside when we are standing there. So if we are standing right here, no mobs will be able to spawn within this range. Now, this range in between the green and this red sphere here is where mobs are able to spawn for a simulation distance of 4, which is what we're going to be building this farm on. So outside of here, no mobs can spawn. Inside of here, mobs are able to spawn, which is why we built up off the ground. Because as you can see, this red sphere ends before we get to the water. So when we're standing up there at our AFK platform, none of these mobs down here will be rendered in. They will all be inside of our farm. I hope that little explanation of spawning mechanics makes sense. All you really need to know though is that if you stand up here, none of the mobs down there will be rendered in. So now to continue with the farm, off of this block, you're going to want to place down a 2x2 square of hoppers, or just 4 hoppers, however you want to place them down. And then wherever the hoppers were leading into, so they're all leading into this hopper for me, I'm going to go ahead and place, if I can place down, there you can place down a chest right there, and then a second one. And this is of course where all of the drops are going to go into. Now what you want to do is take a rail and a hopper minecart, and on any one of these 4 hoppers, doesn't really matter, shift, place down the rail, and then place the hopper minecart on top. And this is how the drops are actually going to be picked up through the blocks and then put down into this chest. So now what you want to do is just build up a couple temporary blocks off the side and then make a 2x2 square of blocks over top of this here. And this is where all of the drowns are going to fall on top of. Now again, with temporary blocks, what you want to do is just make a ring around this 2x2 square, because we're now going to work on the Trident killer portion. If you don't have a Trident, or you don't want to set up a Trident killer, that is 100% okay. You can just manually kill them, but of course the Trident killer is, well, we'll make it fully automatic. So the first thing you want to do is face towards our chest. So mine was like this. Place a piston right there. Turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston like that. You now want to take your observers and place one like that, so the arrow is facing into the piston. And of course, again, do that for all 4 of the spots, making sure the air is facing in. And then take a redstone torch and place it on all of the sides of the pistons like this. And then you'll see the Trident Killer get pushed in a circle. And this is why we only needed to add 1 hopper minecart down below, because any of the items that drop inside of here are just going to get pushed in a circle and eventually end up over top of the hopper minecart. Now what you want to do is take a lever, put it on one of the pistons, and then you can go ahead and flick this off for now. You now want to take a trident and throw it onto one of the pistons, and this is obviously what is going to be killing the drowned. Again though, you can keep this off. If you want, you can now hop down here and break all of these temporary blocks, or you can keep them, it doesn't really matter. So far, your farm should be looking like this. You're approximately 50 blocks up off the ground. Again, you can be higher if you want to, just don't go much lower than that. You have the chest, the hoppers, the hopper minecart, and then up here you should have your Trident Killer. The next thing we want to build is the drop chamber for the farm. Now we want the drop chamber to be 25 blocks into the air like you can see here. Now if you're wondering why the farm has to be built 25 blocks above where we're AFKing, again, I'm going to pull out my armor stand just so I can explain it easily. If you remember from before, no mobs can spawn within this green sphere here. So when we are standing down at our AFK spot, now given we'll be 1 block lower, but that's okay, approximately, if you come 25 blocks into the air, this is where the mobs can start to spawn. Anything below this, there are no mobs spawning here. So again, it's going to be from here all the way up to here. So within this range, so from the top of this red sphere down to that block is where the farm should be built inside of, not outside of it. Otherwise, we're just going to be wasting our time and wasting our resources. Now for the drop chamber, I'm going to use glass, but of course you can use any material that you want. I just like to see the mobs falling. But of course, you want to take this glass and take it up a total of 24 blocks into the air. Alright, so our drop chamber is now done. I went ahead and filled in the corners, although it does not matter if you want to fill them in. I just think it looks a lot nicer. But the next thing you want to do, I'm actually going to hop down here really quickly, just so I can make a nice little AFK platform for myself. I'm going to go up 1 block right here so I can still grab the chest. But of course, I will be able to stand here and collect the XP from inside, and I can start the farm. Now you can customize this however you want. You can change some stuff around. This is just pretty simple. You climb up here, you grab the loot, and you stand here to AFK for the XP. But now that we're done with this part, we can move on to the fun part, which is where the mobs, the drowns, are actually going to be able to spawn. So over top of your chamber, the first thing you're going to want to do is build a structure like this, a 2x2 hole in the middle, and you want to make sure to fill in the corners for this part. Now what you want to do is go out 1 temporary block and then up a block like that. And then again, continue another ring around this one that we've just made. And this is where the drown are going to be able to spawn. So it should look like this. And you want to do this a total of 12 times. That's 1, that's 2. So I'm going to want to do it 10 more times to make it a total of 12. Now, of course, you don't have to do 12. You can do a lot less if you want to. Just make sure not to do any more, because otherwise you will be going outside of that red spawning sphere. Now really quickly, if you're enjoying this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, if you want to make sure this farm works before you actually build it, or if your farm's not working, anything like that, you could download this exact world that I'm playing on. It is the first link in the description. With that, let's get back into the video. So, hello. So far, you should have that 2-high wall, surrounding the cone. The next thing we need to do is place down the water so the drowns can actually spawn. So come off to the side of the farm, anywhere that you want, and go ahead and make yourself an infinite water source, because we are going to need quite a lot of buckets of water for this next part. What you want to do is take 1 bucket of water and place it on every single one of these top blocks. The reason we do this is because this water will be 2 blocks tall, and the water needs to be 2 blocks tall for the drown to spawn. So again, take a bucket of water and place it on every one of these blocks. Once you're done placing all of the water, you want to make sure you don't have anything like this. That means that you did miss a bucket of water. Make sure it is solid all the way around. But once you're done with that, you can of course go ahead and remove your infinite water source. And there we go. Our Trident farm is practically completed. If you only want it to work at the nighttime, perfect, your farm is done. However, this is the best farm, and so we want it working 24/7, which is why for this next step, we are going to build a roof over top of this farm. Now, like I just mentioned, if you don't care about it working all the time, you're fine with it only working at nighttime, you don't need to build the roof because it is pretty materials heavy, but for most of us, we are going to want it at this next step. Okay, I lied. There's actually one more thing we want to do before we build the roof, and that is come down here and place down our signs. So you're going to want to place down 4 signs in this hole here, just to make sure that none of the water can actually fall down the chamber. It all stops here. The next thing you want to do is go about halfway up this chamber. It doesn't really matter exactly where it is. So you can see I'm just somewhere in the middle. You want to go ahead and place 4 signs on this level as well, just like this. And then go ahead and place a bucket of water right there. The reason we do this is because the drop is actually too high, so the mobs are going to die to the fall. And we don't want that. We want to be able to collect the XP. So adding this here will just make sure they don't die when they fall all the way down. But there you go. Now we have the Trident farm complete and working. We're going to go ahead and put a roof on top of it next. Now there are 2 steps to the roof. There are the leaves and then there's the solid blocks. Now the leaves, when I say you have to build it with leaves, I mean you have to build it with leaves. For some reason, Trident farms, the roofs only work if you build it out of leaves. I cannot stress this enough. Build this part out of leaves. The part that I'm going to build out of solid blocks can be leaves if you want it to. I'm just going to use solid blocks because getting leaves can be kind of annoying. So the first thing you're going to want to do, this part has to be made out of leaves. Go up 5 blocks like this. And then build over top of the corner with a leaf here. And then you want to copy the size of the water with leaves and then make one big platform over top. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see what it looks like in a second. All right, so as you can see, I have leaves over top of this water portion and the drown are already starting to spawn in the daytime. However, this is not 100% efficient because as you can see, some of the drowned are, they can spawn pretty high up, but if you want to make this farm 100% as efficient as possible, we are going to extend this roof out just a couple more blocks, and this part does not have to be made out of leaves. It can be made out of any solid block that you want. However, if you're good with just having pretty good rates, not 100% the best, but pretty dang good, this leaf roof will be perfect. You can already see a ton of drowned starting to spawn, and then they're falling down there. But like I mentioned, I want the rates to be 100% the best possible. So all of these corners, you want to extend it out 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then come over here and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Connect this and then continue that around this platform. And this will give you 100% efficient rates at this farm. And there you go. Your Trident farm is now done. You have this leaf roof up here with the solid blocks on the side. Now, of course, you can make this more pretty if you want. You can round it off, whatever you want to do. But yeah, so as you can see, tons of drowned are spawning, and then they flow down this chamber, get slowed down by this water all the way down to our Trident killer here, which, by the way, it's not a bad idea to place some torches down here just to make sure mobs can't spawn. But now all I have to do, if I am in survival mode, is flick on this lever and then stand here. Now, one more thing I should mention is if you hold out a looting 3 sword, you are going to get better rates because of the Trident killer there. We threw down the Trident, we hold out looting 3, so the looting 3 effect is applied. But as you can see, I've been standing here for 30 seconds, and already a ton of drowned have come falling down this chamber, and the drops are going inside of this chest. Now, we don't have any Tridents yet, but of course, this farm is 100% AFK, and it is the best, so you can leave this on overnight, and you'll come back to chests full of Tridents. All right, another Trident guy falling down. Let's see if he's going to end up dropping his Trident. He is. Okay, so just like that, I've already gotten a Trident. Now it is very broken, but again, you can put a bunch of them together. And since this farm is fully AFK, you're going to have no issues with how many Tridents you have from here on out. So go ahead, build my other farms that take a bunch of Trident killers because you now have infinite Tridents from this farm. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, you could download this exact world. It's the first link in the description. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. This moss bonemeal farm will produce you over 700 bone meal every single hour. And here's how to build it for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Now really quickly, right before we get started with this farm, you're going to want to make sure you build this inside of a single chunk. Now this doesn't necessarily matter, but Bedrock can be a little buggy, and especially for a specific farm like this, you are going to want to make sure you're inside of one chunk. So pull up chunk base, whatever version you want. It doesn't matter if it's slime chunks, doesn't matter if it's biomes, whatever it is. Punch in your seed, find your coordinates you can see in the bottom left there. And then if you look in the bottom right, so hover over the square that you're in, you're going to want to be within those ranges of blocks. As well, we're going to build the start of this farm in a fairly random looking order. However, I promise you it'll all come together to build that farm that we have back there. So make sure you follow the steps very carefully because it is a specific farm and can be messed up pretty easily. So to get started with this farm, start off by placing down 4 blocks like that, skipping 1 block and then placing down 5 blocks there. You can now break these blocks that are underneath of those blocks we've placed. Now right behind this longer side, you want to skip 1 block and place a block there. And then going away from this side, so in this direction for me, go out 1 and up 1, Do that again one more time like that. Make this 2 blocks long, and then go ahead and bring it back down just like that. Now on the end of this, you want to place 1 more block, and then go ahead and extend it 2 more that way, so it's a 2x3 square, and then place 1 block like that, so you should see that this area ends up 2 blocks away from this inside portion here. Now that we've got all the blocks placed down, we can go ahead and get started on the redstone for the farm. The first thing you want to do is place a lever on that longer side there. Take 2 pieces of redstone and place it like that. Take your 2 regular pistons and place them facing towards each other just like that, with a redstone block on either one of the blocks. You now want to take both of your comparators and place them facing in this direction so the 2 prongs are facing away from the block, just like that. Then place a temporary block, a hopper leading into the block, and then place a hopper leading into that hopper like that. You then want to take any 5 filler blocks, it doesn't really matter, and place them inside of here. Make sure you have at least 5 blocks there. What you should start to see is when the 5 items are pushed between the hoppers, this redstone block gets extended to one side, and then 5 blocks later to the other side, and we can go ahead and turn that off for now. Once you're done building that part, come over here and place 3 redstone there, and 3 redstone there as well. Then take 1 comparator and face it in that direction, and 1 comparator and face it in that direction there. You then want to take 1 redstone torch and place it there, 1 redstone torch and place it right there. Take a redstone repeater, place it facing in that direction, and then take it 3 times. Take a redstone dust and place it right there, and then a redstone repeater and face it just like that. As you should see, this redstone repeater turns on, and neither of these torches are on, but then when you go ahead and flick this lever, you see that this turns off, everything here turns on, and this starts to flick like this with the redstone blocks going back and forth. This is how you know that you've done the redstone portion correctly. Now that you've got this part done, come over to here, go up to this block and place a sticky piston facing upwards with an observer facing in that direction. Now take 2 observers and place them on both sides of these pistons, or this piston, sorry, so the arrows are facing in the opposite directions. Now come down here, place a block on the edge of that repeater with a sticky piston facing away from the block. 2 temporary blocks right there with an observer so the redstone dust is facing up and the face is facing down. Now place 1 block right there, 1 block right there, and 6 blocks this way. Then place 1 block that way and break that block right there. And then finally take 6 pieces of redstone dust and place it on top of these blocks. 7 pieces of redstone dust, sorry. Now you want to take your 5 regular pistons and place them inside of those blocks like that. Now coming over to here, you want to temporarily place 1 block right there with a piece of obsidian so it's in line with the pistons, and then you can break that block and place 5 more pieces of obsidian here just to make sure the stone doesn't go crazy and go way past the farm. We put this here to make sure it all stays inside. Now coming over to this area here, you want to place 1 solid block there and 1 solid block right there. Now for this next part I'm going to use glass, but you can use whatever block you want. I just like to see what happens inside of the farm. Right beside here, make a row of blocks there, and then also connect that behind the obsidian and connect it to that. And then come over here and place 2 glass blocks there as well, or whatever block you're using. And then on top of every single block that we just placed down, you're going to want to make it too high. Not going too high over top of this part though, you want to go too high over top of the obsidian right there. And then go ahead and do it here as well. This is just to make sure that no blocks can actually escape from the farm when we're using it. So you should have an area that looks like this. Now come back inside of the farm and place 2 slabs there and 2 slabs right there on top of those hoppers. Then you want to place slabs on this top slab here, covering this area on these first 2 rows, just like that. You can then skip this row right here, so I'm going to skip 1 block, and then you want to cover slabs for the rest of this area. This is just to make sure that none of the blocks actually end up leaking through the bottom of the farm. They all go inside of our chest collection system. There you go, just like that. Once you've got this area done, you want to come down here and place 5 temporary blocks like that. And then it might be helpful for this next part to make yourself an infinite water source off to the side, because we are going to need 5 water buckets. So I'm going to do one of these, get an infinite water source, and then you want to take 1 bucket of water and place it inside of every single one of these pistons. You can now, of course, go ahead and break your infinite water source. If you see that water leaks out the bottom, you just want to make sure that you have blocks underneath of these 5 here. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And I'm actually going to make these slabs down here. So place 5 slabs underneath of there, and you should be good to go. Real quick, that flowing water might have just got rid of this piece of redstone, so make sure you place that back. Now take 5 blocks and place it here. And then take your bucket of lava and place it in the middle there, and all of this water should be turned to stone. And then once it does turn to stone, you can go ahead and remove all these temporary blocks. Just like that, there you go. Now, if you drop down here and flick this lever on, hopefully you're going to start to see that stone is created. And when it's created, it's pushed all the way towards this obsidian. Once the stone gets all the way over there and you see it's working properly, you can go ahead and turn the farm back off. Now, I feel like this is a perfect time to say, if something isn't working, if you want to make sure the farm works before you go ahead and build it, anything like that, you can check out this exact world I'm playing on right now. It's the first link in the description. With that, let's get back into the video. Now, right in front of this block here, normally this observer is down a block, but that's okay. Right on top of this block, take a dropper and place it there. With the dispenser in front of it, you might have to shift and place it like that. Then what you want to do is go one temporary block up, place a second block, and then break that. And take another dropper and face it leading down into this one here. It might be helpful to break one of those blocks temporarily, and then go ahead and place that facing down. Then go ahead and grab your hopper and your chests. Take a hopper, lead it into the top of that dispenser there, or the dropper, sorry, and then take 2 chests and place it on top of there. This is where we're going to put the bone meal to actually use the farm. I'm now going to replace this block, but if you don't have stone on hand, you can easily just turn the farm back on and fill in that piece of stone. Now, right beside these observers on both sides, and then one block up, so right here, you want to take a dispenser and face it leading in. And then right here, again, you want to take a dispenser and face it leading in. Now, the final thing that I'm going to do is raise this up one more block just to make sure that none of these items can actually end up escaping out of our farm. Again, this doesn't have to be glass. It can be any block that you want. There you go. So your area should be looking like this. Now that you've got those dispensers placed, take a piston, shift, and place it like that with a moss block in front of that dispenser. Then take 2 buckets of water and place them in front of those dispensers, and then take empty buckets and place them inside of the dispenser. Now, don't just place water straight inside. You want to place water in front and then put empty buckets inside. This is just so when you turn the lever on, when you flick it, the timing is correct. Otherwise, the water is going to be out at the wrong time, and then you're not going to get any drops. So make sure you do it like this. Now come up to this chest and take all of your bone meal and place it up here. Now that we're done with this part up here, we're going to go ahead and get started on this chest collection system that I have built right here. Now, as you can see, we have the composters automatically turning the drops into bone meal, but if you don't want to do this, you can just go ahead and take the hoppers and lead it inside of some chests. But I'm going to show you how to automatically turn it into bone meal right now. So to get started with this part, come underneath of this farm, go 1 block over and then break those 4 slabs, and you should see that it's in front of this block here. You skip 1, and then these 4 blocks are the slabs that we've just broken. Now what you want to do is break down 8 blocks like that, place 2 double chests in the bottom, and then make yourself a nice little area to get up and down from those chests. You then want to take 4 hoppers and lead them into the chests, 4 composters on top of the hoppers, and then 4 more hoppers on top of those composters. So you kind of have a hopper composter sandwich. What? Now on top of these hoppers, take 2 rails and place them like that, with 2 hopper minecarts like that, and then go ahead and break both of these rails. And then for one, you want to push it kind of over top of these 2 hoppers. Not like that, that's too far. Kind of push it over top of the 2 hoppers, and then for the other one, push it over top of the other 2. So they're just kind of central inside of those hoppers, and all of the items are evenly distributed. So they're picked up from the hopper minecart, put into the hopper, put into the composter, turned into bone meal, and then put inside of these chests down here. And there you go, your farm should be done. Now if you come down here and flick this lever on, you're going to see that the bone meal is going to grow this moss, which is going to spread to the stone. The water is going to break it. It's going to push all of the drops down into these hoppers through the composters, which is then going to turn it into bone meal. And then eventually you will end up getting bone meal inside of these chests. Now again, if this farm isn't working, you could download this exact world. It's the first link in the description. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. BlazedMC out. This is the easiest and best witch farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. In just 1 hour of AFKing at this farm, I got a ton of redstone. I got over a full chest of healing potions, along with about 8 stacks of gunpowder, a ton of glowstone dust, a ton of spider eyes, sugar, and so much good stuff. So if that interests you, make sure you stick around for this super easy witch farm. This farm will literally take you like 15 minutes to set up and will give you stacks and stacks of redstone and gunpowder, everything like that in just a couple minutes. So this is definitely not a farm that you guys want to miss out. The first thing we need to do when actually building this farm is find ourselves a witch hut in a swamp biome like you can see here. Now these things are pretty rare and can be kind of annoying to find. So if you can't find one, either go to the second link in the description or go to Chunk Base and search up Witch Hut Finder. you can type in your seed, put in Bedrock 1.21, and then all of these purple dots are going to be witch huts. So for me, in the bottom left, you can see it's about 530, 140. And if I come back into my game, you can see that I'm at 530 and 130, right at the witch hut. Perfect. And now we can go ahead and get started with the farm. The first thing you want to do is go inside of the front door, break those 4 blocks, and then replace them with mud blocks like that. This is so the items can still fall through the ground into the hoppers, instead of having to put a hopper minecart below. Now come underneath of the farm here, place 2 chests right there beside the log, and then walk around the side here and place 4 hoppers underneath of these mud blocks. Again, like I just mentioned, since these are mud blocks and not regular blocks, the items are actually able to fall through and go directly inside of the hoppers and into the chest, instead of having to add a hopper minecart down here. So if I temporarily break these blocks, you can see that all of the blocks went into there. Now that you have your chest, your mud, and your hoppers down here, you can go ahead and break the rest of the witch hut. Just make sure not to break these blocks. Once you have the witch hut broken, you should have an area that looks like this. What you want to do is take any solid block, don't use glass or some clear block that lets light through, otherwise the farm's only going to work during the nighttime. So you want to use a solid block and go ahead and make a ring around these mud blocks that we've placed down. You can fill in the corners or you don't have to, doesn't really matter. And then you want to go ahead and make this thing 3 blocks tall as well. So that's 2. And then one more time, 3 blocks tall just like that. Now what you want to do is go on top of these mud blocks and place 4 pieces of scaffolding there with a bucket of water in any one of the 4 corners. Now in the direction that the water is flowing towards, so for me the water is flowing in this direction, you want to come over here, break down those 2 blocks there, and those 2 blocks there, and then place 2 pistons in those spots like that. You then want to place 2 blocks on the side of the pistons, just like that, and then you can go ahead and cover up this area. So now it should look like this. You now want to take 1 trident and throw it on the side of that block, and 1 trident and throw it on the side of that block. Now I'm actually going to throw 2 tridents into each spot, just because this farm is so efficient that this will speed up the rate to the farm. You only need 1 per thing, but of course, the quicker you kill them, the more that are going to spawn. So once you have your tridents thrown down, go ahead and place a solid block on top of both of the tridents, just to make sure they can't go anywhere. Next, you want to go down to this block right here, and on either one of these 2 sides, you want to build out 3 blocks like that, placing a piece of redstone there, a redstone repeater facing in that direction, and then another piece of redstone right there. Now what you want to do is build back 2 blocks there, and then 3 blocks just like that. Go ahead and place a lever on that block there, a redstone comparator right there, and then right click it so you can see that turns on, and then 3 pieces of redstone in those spots. Then I'm going to break this just so you guys can see what's going on. Or not break that, sorry, break those. And then if you flick this lever, you can see these pistons are pushed up and down like this. I can cover this back up. And this is what is actually going to be killing the witches. This is the trident killer portion of the farm. Now the final thing we have to do is find ourselves our AFK location. Now for me, that tends to be about 30 blocks into the air, but it could be different for every single person. It might be 20 blocks in the air, it might be 30, 40, 50. Experiment around. The one thing I do recommend though is go into your settings and make sure your simulation distance is on 4 chunks. If you see it's not on 4, it's on more, I definitely recommend changing it by saving and quitting and then going into the settings in your world and changing that. But for me, like I mentioned, I'm at Y level 70, so I'm going to go 30 blocks into the air to Y level 100. Now for this, I'm going to use scaffolding, but you can do it however you want. You can use a bubble elevator, an elytra, ladders, however you want to do it. Honestly, does not matter. But building up with scaffolding, there you go. You can see I'm now at Y level 100, so for me, 30 blocks into the air. And I'm just going to make myself a nice little AFK platform up here to stand. And there you go. The entire farm is completed. Crazy, I know, right? That farm took almost no time. Now really quickly, to increase the rates substantially a lot more, hold a looting 3 sword. Since you threw down that trident down there, it is like we are killing the witches. So holding out a looting 3 sword will give us the looting 3 effects. Go into your settings, make sure your game is on easy, normal, or hard for the best drops, and you'll see that witch will spawn inside of there, and then all of the drops will go into the chest down below. So I've gone ahead and replaced the roof with glass and turned it to nighttime just so you guys can see how this farm works. Tons of witch start spawning. I've been talking for maybe 10 seconds and 4 witch have already spawned. They die to the trident in the corner there and then more spawn. Anytime you ever want to collect the XP, you can just hop down there, grab the XP through the wall, the top of the wall, the bottom, however you want, and then of course the drops are going to go inside of this chest. Look at this. This is what, 15-20 seconds and we already have all of this loot from this farm. And if I go into survival mode, you can see that I got 4 levels in about 20 seconds at this farm. So this is absolutely incredible and not one that you guys want to miss out on. That's going to be all for this video. If you want to download this exact world I'm playing on here, it's the first link in the description. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. In today's video, we're going to build the best improved Guardian XP farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. All you have to do is stand here, you collect the XP, and all the drops go inside of the chest below. Once you've found your monument, the most important step to the whole farm is making sure that you build it in the northwest corner. To do this, grab an empty locator map, right click it, and you want to go to the top left of the monument. So this is my monument. The top left is the northwest corner. So over here is where I'm going to want to start to build the farm. The first thing you want to do is go to the very corner and then count in to the third block. So 1, 2, and on this third block, you want to dig it down to where you see sand, stone, gravel, really anything that's not this monument block, and then build a pillar from here all the way up to the surface of the water. Then once you're at the surface, go up 1 block and place a slab so no mobs end up spawning on this pillar. Now in either one of these 2 directions, go down 3 blocks and then build out 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then go up 2 blocks, place a slab. Do the same thing, but for 16 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Up 2 blocks and place a slab, and then go 16 blocks again. 14, 15, 16, and then again, I'm going to go up 2 blocks and place a slab, and then for the final time, you want to do it for 10 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Build up 2 blocks, place a slab, and you should end up over top of the same block that we just built. Now you want to go back to the start and do the same thing in this direction. And there you go. As you can see, the second row now ends over top of that same block. Now what you want to do is go to either one of these sides, it doesn't matter, and copy that same pattern that we just did for each one of these pillars. Now that you've got your area looking like this, if you remember back to the beginning of the video when we made that pillar all the way down, not to just the top of the monument, but all the way through to the ground, you want to do that for each one of these spots. Now I know this is tedious, but trust me, this farm is really, really good, so make sure you hang in there. I feel like this is a great time to mention that if something's not lining up, if your measurements aren't working, or if you just want to make sure the farm works before you actually go ahead and build it, check out the first link in the description. You could download this exact world there. Now your area should be looking like this, with 1 pillar underneath each one of the sections that we have built above the water. Again, to emphasize, make sure these pillars go all the way down to the ground and not just to the top of the monument, because then guardians might still be able to spawn. Now we're going to get started on the actual farm portion of the build. So again, go to the furthest northwest corner, so the top left up here, and on this pillar, the first thing you want to do is go underneath of these blocks. And so right here, place 3 blocks, 3 more, 3 more, 2 blocks, and then a magma block right there. And you want to do that for all 4 of these corners. So again, 3, 3, 3, 2, and a magma block, and there should be a 2 block gap in between these. And then again, do the same thing for these. Now that your area looks like this, take 2 blocks and place them in between each one of the magma blocks, so you have this 2x2 square in the middle. And now we want to funnel the guardians into this middle area here, because this is where they're going to end up getting killed. So you want to make some walls surrounding these paths that we've just created. Now that you've got walls like that, come to all 4 of the corners and make sure that there's 2 blocks, 1 in front of the pillar and 1 to the inside part of the pillar, and then over here as well. So 1 right there and 1 right there. I'm going to come over here. There's 2. I want to place 2 like that. There's 2 right there, and place 2 like that. And then finally, make sure that there's 2 and 2 just like that. Now in every one of these blocks that we've just placed down, you want to place 1 more block on top of it. Not like that, sorry. 1 more block on top so you can see the top of the block outside of the water. Once you've got your area looking like this, take some sponges and clear out all of the water inside of these here. So I'm going to place 1 sponge in all 4 of the corners, and that should be plenty to get rid of all that water. This water here doesn't actually matter. Now come to all 4 of the corners and break those 6 blocks, or however many blocks you ended up placing, just so you have these 2 blocks underneath of this area empty. Once you've done that, come to all of the corners and place 1 bucket of water underneath each one of these spots. This is what's going to push the guardians towards the center to be killed, and make sure that when you're doing this, the water pushes right on top of the magma block. Now take your 8 glass panes and place them here. And now we want to cover up this area with glass. Now it doesn't have to be glass, it can be any solid block. I just like to use glass so I can see the guardians flowing, because I think it looks a lot cooler. So you want to take some glass and place it in all of these spots, but once you get to these 3 blocks here, you're just going to want to place it 1 block higher so the guardians don't get stuck. Now, before we get any further, it wouldn't be a bad idea to test the farm to make sure your dimensions are working, because this farm is pretty specific. So what you want to do is go over top of the middle here and go up about 30 blocks, 20 to 30 blocks, until you start to see guardians spawning in those corners. It's not going to work for me because I am not on hard mode. I'm on peaceful. There you go. Easy, normal, or hard, whatever you want. As you're going to start to see, guardians will spawn in those 4 corners, like you can see here, and then they'll be pushed towards the middle. You should also notice that no other guardians are spawning anywhere in the farm because we've plugged all of those spots. You can see they are now flooding towards the middle. This is another great time to say you can see how quickly these guardians spawned, so make sure to stick in until the end of this video because this farm is absolutely insane. But with that, it's time to start working on the way to actually kill these guardians. With the old version of the farm, all we did is built the Trident killer right here. Now the problem with that is you can't AFK down here to collect the XP because you have to be 20 to 30 blocks in the air for the guardians to start to spawn. So what we're going to do with this farm is make a bubble elevator that goes all the way up, brings them up here, and then pushes them into the Trident killer. It's a lot more complicated, but it's the only way that I could find to collect the XP while still collecting the drops and being fully AFK. If you don't care about the XP and you only care about the drops, all you have to do from here is make a Trident killer right here, or a drop shoot to kill them, whatever you want to do. But if you want it to be fully AFK while still collecting the XP and the drops, follow the rest of this video. You're going to want to place 8 blocks over top of this 2x2 hole that we've made. Now I'm going to use glass for the rest of this because I think being able to see the guardians go up the chute is way cooler. But you can do any solid block or not solid block. You can do any block. It does not matter. Now that you've got this layer, you want to go 21 blocks into the air for a total of 22 blocks high. We now need to fill up this chamber with water source blocks. For me, the easiest way that I've found to do this is to literally take some water buckets and just place them 4 like this, go up, place 4, go up and place 4. But if you don't want to do that because you don't want to keep having to grab the water, there is a little bit of an easier way, but it's more complicated. Just let me explain. You want to place some dirt at the ground, come all the way up to the top, and place some water up here so the water flows all the way down, and then take some kelp, and on all 4 of these blocks you want to build it up all the way to the top and then build the kelp, or break the kelp, sorry, and that's going to make all of these water source blocks. You don't want to have it running, it needs to be sourced, so when we place soul sand at the bottom it pushes them all the way up to the top. As you can see, I've picked the kelp method, so I have kelp going all the way up to the top, and now all I have to do is come back down here and break the kelp, and now we have solid water sources throughout the entire thing. So now once you come back down here and you place your 4 pieces of soul sand, you're going to see bubbles going all the way up, and you're going to be shot way up just like this. This is perfect because once the guardians get pushed towards the middle, they're going to come up here so we can kill them with the Trident killer while still collecting the XP and still having them spawn below. I just turned my game into hard mode to show you guys that they spawn and they just get launched up here. It's kind of fun to watch. I made a guardian fountain. Look at this. Anyways, we can get back to the tutorial. At the top of the chamber here, you want to place 4 temporary blocks there, and then you can go ahead and break them just to get rid of that top layer of water. You now want to break those 2 glass blocks in whichever direction you want. I just like to go towards the monument. And then go ahead and place down 6 slabs like this, any type of slab that you want, and then place 6 slabs there as well. You now want to take your block, whatever you're using. Again, I'm using glass, but you can use any block that you want. And you want to place walls on the edges of the slabs. Now coming to the 3rd block down from the top, we want to make a temporary platform here. It doesn't matter how big it is or what block it is. This is just to help us make the Trident killer and also to run around on while we're doing these next couple parts. So I think that looks good. And I'm also going to temporarily break those 4 glass blocks. Now you want to place a piston right there. Turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston. Then take an observer and place it like that so the arrow is facing into the piston. And again, you want to do this for all 4 of the spots, just like that. I don't want this one here, sorry, just that one there. And now what you want to do is take a redstone torch and place it on the side of all of these pistons. And once you've done that, you should see that these pistons are being extended in a loop like this. And then take a lever, place it on one of the pistons, and this is how you turn the Trident killer on and off. We can now replace those glass blocks that we've just broken. Now you want to place 2 blocks there, and then 2 slabs underneath of those blocks like that, so we can still collect the XP. Now for this next part, it might be helpful to make yourself an infinite water source because we are going to need 12 buckets of water. So I'm going to do that, place 2 buckets of water there, and now what you want to do is place 1 source of water inside of each one of these slabs. Editor Blazed here. One mistake that I made is you don't want to place water in these 4 blocks here. Only place the water in these 8 slabs. Now, of course, I can go ahead and break the infinite water source. And so if I look down here without forgetting to place any blocks, you can see that there's water flowing and the mobs are going to get pushed up to here. They're going to cram inside of here and then be pushed inside of this Trident killer, which also reminds me, you want to break these blocks here so that they can actually flow through. So now your area should be looking like this. Now I've gone ahead and removed all of the dirt blocks that we just placed, and I replaced these with these blocks just because I think it looks nicer, but it doesn't actually add any functionality. I just like when my farms look good. Now come underneath of this 2x2 square under the Trident killer and build down 4 blocks and break the top 3, and then make yourself a decent sized platform at this level. Now directly underneath of our Trident killer, we want to place 4 chests like that, with 4 hoppers on top of the chests, a rail on any of the hoppers with a hopper minecart, break the rail, and then push this hopper somewhere in the middle. If you can't push it, temporarily break one of the hoppers, push it into the middle, and then place the hopper back. So what will happen now is when the mobs die, you can still collect the XP, and the XP won't get stuck inside of the hoppers, but it'll still get collected through the ground into the hopper minecart and distributed between these 2 chests. You now want to make a staircase going up and down from this Trident killer. Now the final step to this farm is taking a trident and throwing it onto one of those pistons, and the farm's complete. Now I recommend throwing a couple tridents inside of here because this farm will actually bottleneck up here. The guardians will come up here so fast that they can't be killed fast enough. So obviously the more tridents you have up here, the more efficient the farm is. But as you can see, I obviously don't have any coming up right now because I'm on peaceful. You want to go to easy, normal, or hard, it doesn't matter. And then you want to flick on this lever and your farm will be working. If no guardians are spawning, again, go down to the first link in the description to see what is different, because as you can see in my world, the guardians are starting to spawn. They get pushed up to here and they're probably going to sit here for a little bit until more guardians come up and push them into this Trident killer, where they are then killed. And if I go into survival mode, you can see I can stand here. I'm collecting all of the XP, and all of the drops from the guardians are going to go inside of the chest down below. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And one final time, you can download this world. It's the first link in the description. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. Hello and/or welcome back to another tutorial. This is the most overpowered sugarcane farm that you will ever see. Check this thing out. We have a kelp duplicator up here that duplicates this kelp, goes through the composters, turns it into bone meal, and then that bone meal is fed into this sugarcane farm, which then grows the sugarcane and breaks it. This sugarcane farm is already known and is pretty popular, so to link it up with a bone meal farm just makes this thing so overpowered. Now there's also 2 different ways that we can do this. The one way is having the sugarcane farm out the front, but you are going to see the redstone on the side here. And the other way is like this, where the sugarcane farm is out to the side and you can't see the redstone as well. And while we're going through this tutorial, I will just give you guys the option on either of these methods. This farm is super easy to build though. It is not chunk dependent, meaning you can build it through chunks, in the air, underground, does not matter. You can build this farm anywhere you want, and as you can see, it is also quite efficient. This is just from a couple minutes of using this farm. And obviously the best part is you can literally just turn it on, walk away from your device, go to bed, wake up the next morning, and have double chests full of sugarcane. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. But really quickly, if you like this seed that I'm playing on right here, I have a seeds channel posting weekly showcases. You can check that out. It is one of the links down in the description. The first thing I need you guys to do is decide which one of these 2 designs you want to go with. Now for me, I'm going to build this design here just because I don't like to have to see the redstone down the side. But if you want to build this one, literally all you have to do is take this mechanic that we've built here and turn it sideways, and later on I'll show you guys how to do that. But for this tutorial, we are going to build this design right here. The first thing we're going to do is build the sugarcane portion of the farm, and then we'll get into the kelp portion later. So the first thing you want to do is place a dispenser on the ground and a piston on top like that. Now coming over to this side, what you want to do is place down a redstone repeater right there and then take that 1 time. Then place down a block right there and a lever on the front. Now coming underneath of this block, you want to break those 2 and then place a redstone torch on the side of this block, not on the ground but on the side like this. You then want to place a solid block right there, and then place a redstone torch on top of that. Now again, break both of these blocks and then place a piece of redstone underneath that one there. And you can see we've created this redstone clock that is now extending this piston, and you can go ahead and turn that off for now. Now what you want to do is break the 2 blocks underneath of this dispenser and then place 1 stair facing in this direction with a bucket of water inside. And then you can fill up that block and place your piece of sugarcane down right there. Now that this main portion is done, and whenever there's bone meal in here, this will activate and this part will be working. the next thing we're going to do is get started on the kelp portion of the farm. So what you want to do is go in this direction and then place down 3 pieces of redstone like that with a solid block right there and then a piece of redstone on top of that block. Now going 1 block away from there, you want to place one like that with a redstone torch on the front and then another solid block on top of that redstone torch. You now want to take a redstone repeater and place it down right there with 1 tick just like that. 1 more piece of redstone on top of that block. And then 1 more piece of redstone right there with a block on top of it, so it looks something like this. Now, facing in the direction of the sugarcane here, what you want to do is count 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, and you want to break those 2 blocks right there. And then break it down 2 more blocks and place 2 sticky pistons inside just like that, with 4 blocks right there. You then want to place 2 more sticky pistons like that, facing in this direction, and then place 2 pieces of sand on top of those sticky pistons, and then 2 pieces of sand right there as well. Now the next thing you want to do is come behind these 2 top sticky pistons, place 2 blocks right there, and then 3 pieces of redstone like that, and these top pistons should extend. Now coming underneath of these pistons, you want to break down those 3 blocks, and then break those 2 right there so you can see these sticky pistons, and run 3 pieces of redstone up it just like this. Now what you want to do is take this redstone line and continue it 3 more just like that. Place 1 repeater there and then make sure to tick this once. And then finish it off by connecting a piece of redstone there. And you should see these pistons, there's not supposed to be sand there. You should see that these bottom pistons are going to be extended up like this. Now what's going to happen when you come over here and flick this lever is this sand will kind of temporarily be extended, pulled back, and then fall down. As you can see, it's like falling down before it gets pushed back. This is what it should look like. If it doesn't, just make sure that all of your repeaters are ticked twice, as you can see here, or ticked once, sorry. At the same time that this is extending, you can see that this sugarcane will be getting broken over here. And then when you flick this lever, the whole thing turns off. So now the next thing you want to do is come to this side right here and place a redstone torch on the side of that, with 2 observers facing upwards so you can see the redstone dot like that, and then place another block on top with a piece of redstone on top of that. Now every time you flick this lever, you're going to see this piece of redstone is also activated. Now what you want to do is place 2 regular pistons facing in this direction, and then go ahead and place down 6 blocks right there, and then 1 on the side like that. Now what you want to do is place 9 blocks here, and then 9 blocks on this side as well. Then place 4 solid blocks right there, and then place your final 2 pieces of sand on these extended pistons. Now for this next part, you want to take 1 sign and place it there, 1 right there as well, and then do the same thing here, so 1 right there and 1 right there. Now the next thing you want to do is place a temporary block right there, and then an upside down stair just like that, and place 1 beside it, so it looks like this, with 2 signs on the front, and then 2 blocks on both of the sides. Now come over here and place down 2 blocks behind those pistons, and then place 2 more pieces of redstone on top. Now for this next part, I would highly recommend you make yourself an infinite water source because we are going to need 6 buckets of water. After you've done that, come up here and place 2 buckets on top of the sand, 2 buckets inside of these pistons, and make sure you have those 2 blocks on the side and behind, just like that. And then also place 2 blocks inside of these stairs, and make sure you have these blocks so all of the water is contained inside. Now we're getting super close to done this farm, so make sure to stick in there. Really quickly, if you're enjoying, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And as well, you could download this exact world that I'm playing on here. It is the first link in the description. So you can now go ahead and place down your 2 pieces of kelp on there, and then just go ahead and cover this up. Now this can be any solid block, or it can just be glass. You can really make this however pretty you want. Does not matter. I'm just going to set up something like this. I like to be able to see in, but however you want to do it. Now, the final thing we need to do is actually turn this kelp into bone meal and then feed it inside of here, which is very simple to do. What you want to do is break those 2 blocks, place 2 composters on the end of the sand there, and then place your 2 hoppers both leading into these. You might just have to look at the edge there, but make sure both of the sticks are facing into the composter. And then once that gets turned into bone meal, we're going to place down 3 hoppers like that to pick up the bone meal and then put it inside of this bottom dispenser. Now, one of the final things that we have to do is just build up 3 blocks there, 3 blocks there, and then 1 on top and 2 like that. Now what this is going to do is make sure that none of the sugarcane is able to escape. It all stays inside. Again, this doesn't have to be glass. It can be any solid block that you want. Now, one more thing that I just thought of in this moment right now, you actually want to take this piece of dirt here and replace it with a mud block and then place your sugarcane on top of that. And this is so we don't have to put a hopper minecart below. We can simply attach a hopper because items are able to be picked up through mud. So that brings us to the final step of the farm, which is just making the chest collection system. To do this, I'm just going to dig a little below this. Doesn't really matter how you do it. Place down your chests like that with your hopper directly below this mud block. And as you can see, anytime any block or sugarcane falls on top of that mud, it is all picked up by the hopper and put down inside of this chest. And there you go, your farm is complete. Make sure you have a top on there and you don't break that. Now, to use the farm, it's very complicated. You come over here, you flick the lever, and you're done. As you can see, this kelp is properly being duplicated. I accidentally broke this sign actually, 1 second. There we go. This kelp is properly being duplicated. As you can see, it is going into this composter, which will then be turned into bone meal. And as you'll see, it bone meals the sugarcane, broken by the piston, and then the sugarcane goes down inside of this chest. Now, like I said before, you can literally just sit here all day. This farm will run and you will come back to tons of sugarcane. Now really quickly, I'm going to show you guys how to turn this so it is facing in front if you don't want it facing to the side. If you don't care about this and you're fine with just keeping it how it is, you can go ahead and click off of the video now. Thank you for watching. Now to do this, it's very simple. First of all, we're just going to go ahead and turn that farm off. We pretty much just have to take this section and turn it to the side like this. So what you want to do is of course turn the piston to the side and then turn the dispenser to the side as well. Now, it actually makes your life easier if you just go ahead and break all of this stuff and we just rebuild it from scratch. You might want to temporarily turn that off for now. It's easier if you build the whole thing from scratch just because we would have to be turning different blocks that it just makes it a lot more complicated. So destroy everything. And the first thing you want to do is take this stair right here and you want to face it in the opposite direction of the kelp. So facing in that direction right there. And then place your bucket of water inside of it. Of course, there's already a bucket of water there. It doesn't really matter. Then you can go ahead and fill up all of these blocks. Now, of course, you want to replace that with mud and then place a piece of sugarcane on the front there. Now place a block beside that dispenser with a redstone torch on top. Break those 2 blocks and place a piece of redstone right there. A repeater right there and tick it once. Break that block, place a piece of redstone on this side, and then place a block on top. Again, it's the same steps from before. We're just doing it facing in front. And then take your lever, place it on the front or the side, whatever you want, and turn that off for now. Now again, I'm going to build up with some glass, but you can use any solid block that you want, or not solid block, even any block that you want, doesn't matter. But there you go, that is pretty much just how to turn it to the side. And now if you want to connect it up to here, just take this redstone line and run it down to this repeater. And then every time you flick this, they will both be working. And then when you flick the lever, it will turn off. Again, this way you can kind of see the redstone a little more. That's why I like having it to the side. But both ways will work the exact same. And you can see when I turn this on, the kelp duplicator works. And then when I turn it off, it all stops. One final thing really quickly, don't leave the area while this farm is running. Otherwise it will break. If you want to know how to fix it, really all you have to do is come over here, break all your blocks of sand, and then replace them. That's all for today's video. If you like this seed that I'm playing on, again, check out the Seed Showcase channel. Or if you play Minecraft Java Edition, I also have a Java tutorial channel. Whatever time it is for you guys, I hope you have a great morning, evening, or night, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. I just went AFK at this Creeper XP farm for 1 hour and came back to almost 9 stacks of gunpowder along with almost 30 levels. If that's not proof enough that you need to build this farm, I don't know what is. Let's get into it for Minecraft Bedrock 1.21. Ideally, you want to build this farm over top of water. This is so the mobs on the ground don't slow down the rate to the farm, but you can still build it over top of land. It doesn't really matter that much. As well, you want to make sure you're not near any big mountains because mobs might spawn on the mountains and slow down the rates of your farm. But the first thing you want to do is go 100 blocks into the air. So for me, I'm at Y level 63, so I want to go up to around 163. Doesn't have to be perfect, just about 100 blocks. So as you can see, I'm at Y level 163, and now to get up and down from here, if you have an elytra that would work, you can make a bubble elevator, but the easiest way to do it is just to take some ladders, and since I'm over top of water, I can hold down, fall all the way, and ladders will be placed so I can easily get up and down from the farm. Now coming back up to the top of your farm, on the opposite side of the ladder, place 1 block there, with 2 chests coming off of that block. and then go ahead and put 4 hoppers leading into those chests, and then make a ring of any solid block of your choice, whatever you want, around these hoppers and chests that we've just made. And now we're going to make a Trident killer to automatically kill the creepers and collect the XP. So start off by placing a piston on that chest, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston, so it looks like that. Now you want to take an observer and place it like this so the arrow is facing into the piston, and you want to do that again for all 4 of the spots. So there, 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 and there. And now the final thing is take a redstone torch and place it on the side of the piston, and every time you do it, you should see that a different piston extends out, and then once you place all 4, it should be going in a continuous loop like this. Now take a lever, place it on the piston, and turn it off, and this is how you turn the farm, or at least the Trident killer part of it, on and off. Now grab your Trident, throw it onto one of the pistons, and the Trident killer's done. You can turn the Trident killer off for now. Place 8 blocks on top of these, making a ring, and then continue this up 9 more blocks for a total of 10 high. 9, 10, there we go. So now we have a chamber where the creepers are going to fall down. Come back down to where your chest is, break this block, and place a slab so we can stand here without the creepers seeing us, but we can still collect the XP through this gap. Now coming back up to the top of the chamber, on any one of the 4 sides, you want to build out 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and do that for all 4 sides. There we go. And now once you have 7 blocks coming out from all 4 of the sides, you want to connect all the edges and make one massive platform, leaving the 2x2 hole in the middle. Now that we've got this massive platform up at the top here with the 2x2 hole in the middle, go to any one of the sides, go out 1 block, up 1 block, and then make a 1 high wall surrounding this platform. And once you have that, go to any one of the 4 corners, build out 2 blocks like that, and then on the other side, out 2 blocks. Do that for all 4 of the corners, and then again, fill in this layer. Now I hope that part wasn't confusing, but once you finish it, it should look like this. Now one more time, you want to go out 1 block, up 1 block, and then again, make a 1 high wall around this platform. Now on top of this outer layer of blocks that we just placed, you want to take 1 stair and place it on every single block. And there we go. Now that we've got all the stairs placed going around, go ahead and make yourself an infinite water source on the side. Trust me, you're definitely going to want an infinite water source for this next part, because what we now have to do is take 1 bucket of water and place it inside of every single one of these stairs. And if you do it correctly, you should see that the water flows perfectly towards this middle, but it does not flow in. It stops right on this block. Once you finish doing that, you can of course break your infinite water source. And so once it's all done, you should see that the water flows perfectly towards the middle like I mentioned, but it doesn't flow over. Now I feel like this is a great time to mention, if your dimensions are wrong, if the water's flowing over, if it's not making it far enough, if the creepers aren't spawning, anything like that, if you're having issues, you can download this exact world. It is the first link in the description. You can make sure the farm works before you build it, anything like that. Definitely go ahead and check that out. But there we go, we're done this part. It's now time to move on to the first layer of the farm. To get started with the first layer, come to any of the corners and go to this block right here and build up 4. You can then break the bottom 3. And now what you want to do is in either one of these directions, count out 20 blocks. Or if you're too lazy to count out 20, it should take you to 1 block beside where we just placed. So we just placed it down here, so 20 blocks should take you to right here. 19, 20. And as we can see, perfect, it took us exactly to that spot. And we should do the same thing in this direction. 18, 19, 20, and there we go, it took us to the exact same spot. And now we can just go ahead and do the same thing this way and then connect the edges. Now this one might take you to a slightly different spot, but at this point it doesn't really matter. We've got our platform inside of the area. Now that we've got this floating square here, go to any one of the sides, go over 1 block, and then place a block, skip a block, and do this all the way down, and you should have a perfect gap at the end. And then you want to make these rows continuing all the way to the other side. And there we go. Now that we've got this, you want to do the exact same thing, but in this direction. Once you finish doing that, you should have all of these 1 block gaps where the creepers are going to fall down. Now this next part takes a lot of time and a lot of resources, but as you guys saw in the intro and the title, this farm is absolutely insane, so make sure you stick around for this one. Go to any one of the sides, build up 3 blocks, break the bottom 2, and then copy this exact same thing that we did here up here. Now if you only want 1 layer, you can make a solid platform, but I recommend doing more than 1 layer because obviously every other layer that you have makes the farm more efficient. There you go. As you can see, I've got this exact same thing up here that I did down here, and it's also 2 blocks high. As well, if you look straight down, you can see that the holes are lined up. This is very important. Now you have to decide how many layers for the farm you want. I like to do between 7 and 8 layers, although you can keep it here. You can do 1, you can do 10, however many you want. All right, there we go. I have 7 layers now. That's what I decided to end up doing. And again, like I mentioned, you can look straight down these holes and see the water down below. Now that you've got the amount of layers that you want, it's time to start spawn proofing to make sure that only creepers spawn inside of this farm. Now, if you're not aware, 1.21 changed it so spiders spawn inside of this farm. Luckily for you guys, I and a couple of my commenters have helped me to find a fix for this farm, so now it works even more efficiently in 1.21. Now, the first step is making sure that the creepers actually walk through these holes, and to do that, you need to take a trapdoor, place it, and open it up so the creepers think this is a full block and they end up walking through and falling down into our killing chamber. So place one trapdoor inside of every single one of the holes. Once you've got one trapdoor placed in every single one of the holes, one of the first changes we have to make from the 1.20 to 1.21 version is placing trapdoors here instead of the old way of placing buttons. So along this row, not in front of the hole, but along this row, you want to place one trapdoor on every single block. Now that all the trapdoors are placed, go to every block where there's not a trapdoor, look up and place a button. So skip a block, place a button, skip a block, place a button. This is different from 1.20 where these were actually trapdoors. Now it has to be buttons, otherwise the creepers pathfinding doesn't work, and so they just stand here. If these are buttons, they can walk around and they do end up falling inside of the hole. So this is the second change that we've made inside of 1.21. Now, one more important thing when doing this, do not just skip to here. It is very, very important that you go to this level first. So you're going to have almost this crisscross pattern of buttons going over the entire roof. There you go. Now your buttons should be looking like this. Again, very important that you don't miss any of these. And our first layer is complete. Now you want to copy these steps for every single layer that you've built. There we go. I've copied the exact same thing on every single layer. As you can see, I have no trapdoors missed. There's a trapdoor in every single one of the holes, every single one of these spots, and there's buttons on all of the roofs. This farm now works during nighttime, but if you want it to work during daytime as well, aka giving it twice as good rates, make sure you watch the next part of this video. So go to any one of the four corners, shift and place a block on top of the trapdoor with the second block, and then you can break that one there. And then go out 12 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And the same thing this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do that for all four corners and then make one massive roof over top. All right, I now have this massive roof over top of our structure, and you can see that all of this is dark. Now, creepers aren't spawning for me right now because I'm on peaceful, but if you're not on peaceful, they will start to spawn. And the final thing that you need to do for this farm is, again, on this top layer, place some buttons like we did down here. And one more thing really quick that I forgot to mention, up here on the roof, make sure that you place down torches. Place down a ton of torches, as many as you can. Make sure this whole area is lit up, otherwise mobs are going to spawn up here and slow down the rates of your farm. So once you're done, the roof should look something like this. The final thing you want to do is make sure you're in easy, normal, or hard mode, and the entire Creeper XP farm is completed. Now, to find your AFK spot, it can be a little bit complicated, and it's different for every single person. As you can see, I'm standing right here, and we did just see that creeper spawn, but it changes for everybody. Maybe you need to be close, maybe you need to be far away. But the place that I AFK at when I'm using this farm, as you saw in the intro, is right here. The slab is here, so the creepers won't blow up. I'll collect the XP. All of the creepers are going to fall down, and all I have to do is flick this lever, and this Trident killer is going to automatically kill them. Now, one more cool thing you can do is grab yourself a looting 3 sword like I have here and hold this out. I don't even have to kill them, but since I threw down the Trident, the effects are going to be applied. You can see that I'm collecting the XP, and the gunpowder is going inside of this chest. Well, that's all for today. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, you could download this world. It's the first link in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. This crazy sugarcane farm will give you this much sugarcane every single hour. If that's not proof enough that you have to build this, then I don't know what is. Let's get into it for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Now, one thing really quick before we actually go ahead and build this farm. If you can't notice, this is a Bonemeal sugarcane farm. It does take a lot of bone meal. If you want one that doesn't take bone meal, check out the second link in the description. The next thing that I feel like I should mention, 10,000 sugarcane seems like a lot, and it is, but if you guys want that in stacks, it's 156 stacks of sugarcane every single hour sitting at this farm. It's also only 3 blocks by 3 blocks, super compact, really easy to make, but still giving some insane rates. The first thing you want to do is dig down 4 blocks, and then do that 2 more times, so you should have 4 blocks down and then 3 blocks wide. Now you want to take either 1 or 2 chests and go ahead and place it at the bottom. I recommend doing a double chest because this farm, like I just mentioned, produces a ton of sugarcane. Now take a hopper, place it on top of there. Take a rail, place it on top of that, and then a hopper minecart and place it there. And then either take a grass block, a dirt block, a sand, or a mud block, whatever you want, and place it on top of there. And this is where we're going to grow the sugarcane. Now right behind this block, go ahead and place a dispenser, crouch and place a piston on the dispenser, and stay crouching, and then take a hopper and place it on the side of the dispenser. And then go ahead and take either a barrel or a chest and place it like that. So what you want to do is take all of your bone meal, place it inside of this barrel, which will go into the hopper, into this dispenser. It'll grow the sugarcane. The sugarcane will be broken by this piston, and then it'll all be picked up from here and go inside of this chest. It might also be a good idea to make a staircase to go up and down from this chest. Next, what you want to do is place a block beside the dispenser, and then one right there as well. Take a redstone torch and place it on top of there. Break those 2 blocks, and those 2 blocks as well. Take a redstone torch and place it on this block, not on the ground, but on the block. And then coming underneath of this side here, you want to place a redstone dust right there. And then you can go ahead and fill these 2 spots back in. You then want to take a redstone repeater and place it in the middle, and you should see this start to happen. And then go ahead and take your lever, place it on front and turn it off. And this is how you're going to turn the entire farm on and off. You now want to break this block right here, place a bucket of water inside of there, and then take a sugarcane and place it like that. Now the final thing we have to do is block in this area however you want to. I'm going to use glass, but you can use any block that you want. I just like to see the sugarcane being broken. And then go ahead, like I just mentioned, filling this area in, making sure that it's 3 blocks tall so you can get the most out of your bone meal. And then go ahead and fill this in. This is just to make sure that all of the sugarcane actually gets picked up by this. It doesn't go in different directions. Now the final thing that I will mention, as you can see, this farm is incredible and produces a ton of sugarcane, but as it stands right now, it also wastes a bunch of bone meal. If you're tight on bone meal and you want to sacrifice a little bit of the rates, come over to this side and click this 3 times. It's going to go a bit slower, but now it's using 1 bone meal every single time the piston breaks it. When it's doing it like this, it is even more efficient, like I said, giving 10,000 sugarcane per hour, but it is wasting a couple bone meal every single time. But as you can see, it's being grown and broken really fast, and all of the drops are going inside of this chest down here. That's all for today. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. This XP farm gave me 60 levels in 1 minute. That's all I have to say. Let's get into it for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. To get started, build 3 blocks up off of the ground. Go 2 blocks in one direction, 2 blocks in the opposite direction, and then 4 blocks like this. And then you want to fill this area in so you have a nice 5x5 platform up at the top of your pillar here. Now you want to make a 3 high wall around this platform that we've just made. I'm going to use glass because I like to see what's going on inside of the farm, but you can use any block that you want, does not matter. There you go. Now that you've got a 3 high wall around the platform, go to any one of the 4 corners and break those 4 blocks. And then drop down here, and it might be helpful to mark out those 4 blocks, but that part does not matter. And then for now, I'm going to temporarily break that pillar that we've built up. Now we want to build a trident killer around this 2x2 square. So place a piston right there, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston like that. You then want to take your observers and place them like that so the arrow is facing into the piston. And again, I'm going to do that for all 4 of these spots. And then finally, you want to take a redstone torch and place it on the side of this piston. So 1 right there, 1 right there, 1 there, and 1 there. And you should see that the trident killer goes around in a loop like this. And then you want to take a lever and throw it on the front here to turn it on and off. Now what you want to do is throw at least 1 trident here. Now for me, I like to throw like 8, 9, 10 tridents because this farm is so efficient that the trident killer can't keep up and your game actually starts to lag because of it. So for me, I'm going to throw a ton of tridents on here. However many more tridents you have, the more efficient the farm is going to be. You can now take your blocks and fill in this area like that. And then I'm going to use glass for the front, but again, you can use any material that you want. I also recommend filling in these corners as sometimes the mobs do glitch out of here because there are so many of them that are spawning. And if you're finding that too many of the mobs are glitching out of your thing because of the mob cramming, what you can do is take this redstone torch and place an observer in its place, and that'll do the same job while reducing the number of mobs that can glitch through the blocks. Now that we've got that part done, you want to come inside of here and fill in those 3 blocks, leaving just 1 corner of the farm open, and then go ahead and make a roof over top of the farm. Now that we've got this roof, you're going to want to go ahead and break inside of here and find the middle of our box. The middle is going to have 2 blocks out in all of the directions. Now going to this middle, look straight up and break that block. Then on any 2 sides, you want to take your dispenser and place it facing into the hole. And then on the other 2 sides, take some trapdoors and place them like that. It doesn't matter which side you have these on, just have it surrounding the hole. Then go ahead and crouch. Take a campfire and place it on the bottom part of one of these dispensers. take a bottle of water, a splash bottle, and place it inside of there. Place a lever on the side and then flick this lever so it puts out that campfire, just like that. Now coming outside of this box, you can close that up again. And you want to make a chamber around this hole that we've made that's 3 blocks high. This doesn't have to be glass, but again, I just like to see what's going on. Now fill in all of these corners with any block. And then make 1 extra row around those blocks that we've just placed down, just like this. Now go out 1 block and up 1 block, and then go up another block and make a 2-high wall around this platform. There we go, just like that. And then the final thing you want to do is put a roof over top of this box. Now this box up here is temporary and we are going to end up breaking it later, so the materials of this does not matter. The next thing we need to do for this farm is find some alleys, which can be found at pillager outposts. The alleys are found inside of these boxes by the pillager outpost. Walk up to them. You might have to click twice because they are going to grab it first, but you want to put some leads onto these guys and then drag them over to your farm. Now that you've got both of your alleys over by your farm, we have to get them inside of that top box there. So I'm going to take some ladders and place them going up the side of this here so I can climb up, and then I'm just going to go to one of the edges and make a staircase so I can get back up to the top of the farm. There we go. And now that we're up here, I've already broken some of these blocks. You want to drop down inside of here and get the alleys in this box. Now if you're finding they're not coming down, you might have to hop inside of here temporarily, but eventually they will fly inside of the box, and then you want to close off that area. There you go. Got them both inside, and now I can close off this area. Obviously, you can now take off the leads as well. Next, we have to breed these guys and get at least 6 of them inside of here. So to do that, take a jukebox, place it down, and then put any music disc inside. And then take some amethyst shards and right click on these guys until you see the hearts coming up and they will breed. You're going to have to wait a couple minutes to do this in between each time. But like I said, you're going to want to get at least 6 of them. Once you finish breeding them, you can go ahead and break the jukebox. I've gone ahead and gotten 10 of these guys inside of here now, and what we need to do is get them inside of this glass chamber. So I'm going to quickly, without letting any of them escape, break below the farm. And now down here, what you want to do is take a note block and place it anywhere that you want, with an observer having the arrow facing into it, and then another observer facing that way, and you should see this note block with the waves continuously coming off. If they're not, you did something wrong like I did. There you go. You can see the note blocks are continuously making this wave motion towards. And now what you want to do is go back inside of the farm. Give all of these guys a block, any block that you want, by just right clicking them, and you'll see they're holding it. And then you want to take that block and throw it inside of this chamber, and they're all going to funnel towards there, and then just close this area off. So I'm going to give it all to them, throw a ton of those blocks down there, and then hopefully eventually they'll all end up flying down, and then you can go ahead and close off this area. Now the next thing we have to do is get all of these guys down to that 1 block down there. So to do this, place a block, make sure there's a block there, place a block up there with a piston on it and a lever, and then you're going to want, I'm just going to temporarily break these, you're going to want to push that down so they're pushed like that. Do that and then place another block, push them down, and then you might have to do it 1 more time until you see that they are all in this block right here. And then you can go ahead and not only break the piston setup, but also this entire box that we have up here. Now come inside of the farm, and on the opposite side of your hole, you want to place a water bucket and then place a sign over top of that hole. Now coming back to the front of the farm, you want to find where these 2 dispensers are up here and temporarily break these blocks. So that's 1 right there and 1 is right there. You now want to take a redstone path and lead it towards these 2 blocks. So do something like this, and then replace those blocks and place a piece of redstone on top of it, just like that. And then wherever these 2 redstone paths lead, you want to place a button. So when you click this button, that dispenser goes off, and when you click this button, that back dispenser goes off. Now, as you can see, when I click my button, one of the trapdoors opens up. We don't want that to happen, so I'm just going to take this redstone and move it over 1 more block. Once you have this part set up, come inside of the farm, break those 2 blocks, and then replace them with ladders so you can get in and out. And then in one of the dispensers, you want to place your regular water bottles, and in the other one, you want to place your infested water bottles. Now to use the farm, you want to light this with a flint and steel. Don't worry, they're never actually going to die. Then come out of the farm and cover this area up. And then what you want to do is first turn on the Trident killer, very important. There we go. And then finally flick this button or click that button, and you're going to see a ton of silverfish come flooding out of here and falling down here. Now, like I mentioned, some of them might end up bugging out, which is why it's a good idea to place some blocks here. But as you can see, this farm has been on for a couple seconds and the levels are already flooding in. Now, I recommend not leaving this farm on for too long. Otherwise, as you can see, your game will bug out pretty quickly. So click the button that has the water bottles inside and it'll stop the farm from spawning silverfish. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, you could download this exact world. It's the first link in the description. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. This is literally the easiest gunpowder farm in all of Minecraft, and it gives 1,000 gunpowder every single hour. Here's how to build it in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Since this is a ghast farm, of course, it is going to be built in the nether. So go ahead, make yourself a nether portal, light it, and head to the other side. Now that we're here in the nether, you want to make sure you build this farm over top of a soul sand valley. It's really important you build it in a soul sand valley, one like this where you can see the blue mist, you can also see the soul sand, and you see those black particles falling down. This is to make sure that no other mobs, like all of those piglins over there, end up spawning inside of the farm. You want to make sure that only ghasts can spawn, and inside of the soul sand valley, that is the best way to do this. As well, ideally, you're going to want to build it over top of a lava lake. Now, this part isn't mandatory. You don't have to build it over top of a lava lake. Like for me, I'm just going to end up building it down here. This is just to make sure that you have the best rates inside of your farm. No other mobs down here are clogging up the rates. But if you just want to go at the basic level, a soul sand valley like this one here is perfect. The first thing you want to do is turn on your show coordinates. So go into settings, scroll down, hit show coordinates, and then build all the way up to Y level 119. Now that we're at Y level 119, as you can see in the top left, the middle number says 119. Start by breaking the block below you and placing a solid block so we remember where it is, and then go ahead and place a torch there so no mobs can spawn. And if you're wondering, we build this at Y level 119, so we're as high as possible without hitting that top or the lowest layer of bedrock, sorry. Now what you want to do is go 25 blocks in all 4 of these directions. Alrighty, there you go. As you can see, we have gone 25 blocks in all 4 of the directions. Now what you want to do is take all of these, connect the pathways that we've made, and then make one big 50 by 50 square around us. While you're clearing it out, you're also going to want to make sure to fill up any lava patches or holes in the ground that you find. Oh yeah, and don't forget to grab yourself some of this as well. And there we go. So that is the 50 by 50 square dug out. Now what you want to do is place torches everywhere. The reason you do this, I'm on peaceful, but if you go into hard mode, you will see that skeletons start to spawn. They should be the only thing that start to spawn. If other mobs spawn, you have built it not in a soul sand valley, partly over top of another biome. So make sure you build it over top of a soul sand valley. But to prevent all of the skeletons from spawning, you just want to go ahead and spam down as many torches as you want in this area. Alrighty, there you go. As you can see, I have torches placed everywhere, and as you can tell, no other skeletons or mobs are spawning. The next thing you want to do is take this area 2 blocks higher for a total of 4 blocks tall. And if you've done everything correctly, you should have a 50 by 50 square that's 4 blocks tall and has a ton of torches everywhere. Now I'm in peaceful right now because if you're in easy, normal, or hard, ghasts will start to spawn and make your life really difficult. Really quickly, if something isn't working, or if you want to make sure the farm works before you actually go ahead and do all of these steps, you could download this exact world that I'm playing on right now. It's the first link in the description. The final step to this farm is taking all of your leaves or glass, whatever you want to use. Leaves are more risky because they can burn, but the ghasts can't actually shoot at you, so you should be fine, and I find them a lot easier to gather. So I'm going to use leaves. What you want to do is go to the second block down or the third block up and make a layer of leaves over top of this entire box that we've made. And there you go. As you can see, we have the ghast spawning. Of course, if they're not, you want to make sure you're on easy, normal, or hard. As well, you're going to want to make sure your simulation distance is on 4 chunks. All you have to do is run up to these guys. Obviously, if you have a looting 3 sword, you're going to get better drops. Stab them once, you run up to them, you collect the XP, collect the gunpowder and the ghast tears, and then by the time you kill that one, more will have spawned and you can run up to them and kill them as well. And one more thing really quickly that I should add, if you have soul speed on your boots and you place soul sand on the ground, you can sprint faster towards the ghasts to be able to kill them quicker and have better rates. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. I went AFK at this ominous bottle farm for 10 minutes and came back to 17 ominous bottles, which is over 100 ominous bottles per hour at this farm. If this interests you, make sure you stick around till the end. Here's how to build it for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. There's an important mechanic in Minecraft that I need you guys to understand with pillager outposts and how pillagers spawn inside before we can actually get started with the farm. Now, if you didn't know, there's only one spot that the pillagers can spawn on the top layer of the outpost. However, if your outpost is facing a specific direction, you can have 2 or sometimes even 4 of those spots, both with increasing efficiency. That's not mandatory to have, you don't need 4 or 2, 1 is still pretty efficient. I should also mention that it's not guaranteed to get 2 or 4 spawn spots, it's just a chance, it all depends on how the outpost lines up with the chunks around it. Now, figuring out how many spawn spots your outpost has is pretty easy, and I'm going to give you guys 3 different ways on how to tell right now. Firstly, if your outpost is facing south, you have 1 spot, east or west you have 2, and north you might have 4. Now hold on, I'm going to tell you guys 3 different ways on how to tell which direction your outpost is facing. You can use a pumpkin, a sunflower, or a locator map. Now sunflowers always face east. If you look out the door of the outpost and the sunflower faces to the left, you're south with 1 spot. If it faces towards or away from you, you're east or west and you have 2 spots. And if the sunflower faces to the right, you are north with possibly 4 spots. The pumpkin trick is pretty similar. If you place down the pumpkin and the stem is facing away from the chest, that's south and 1 spawn spot. If it's facing to the left or the right of the chest, that is east or west with 2 spots. And then if it's facing towards the chest, that is north with possibly 4 spots. The third option is with a locator map, which is the easiest. All you have to do is go to the front of the outpost, look outside, and whichever direction you're looking on the map is the direction the outpost is facing. For this tutorial, my outpost is going to have 2 spawn spots, although if you have 1 or 4, it is the exact same process, just with less or more trident killers. And if you haven't noticed, I've been saying possibly 4 spots because when it faces north, it's not guaranteed it has 4. It might have 2, it just depends on how the chunk borders line up. Now finally, with all that out of the way, we can get into the actual tutorial of the video. So the first thing you want to do is remove all of this stuff on the top. We don't need any of this up here, so go ahead and get rid of all of this. All right, there you go. I got the whole top area removed. Now what you want to do is come to this chest here and look at it in this direction. And then you want to go over 1 block, back 2, and then break this block. This is a guaranteed spawn spot. This spot right here is where pillagers are always going to spawn no matter how many spots your thing has. So this is 1 right here. Now here are where the other 4 spots might be. So if you have 2 spots or 4 spawn spots, they might spawn in one of these other locations. So we're gonna have to trap them here and then figure out where they spawn. So how you find these? You wanna go up to this gap in the fence here, go to the right one, and then place down a block right there. And then you wanna do that for all 4 of these sides. So I'm gonna go to right in front of that right side fence, and I'm gonna place down a block. Now what we want to do is actually trap these pillagers inside of some glass panes just so we can see which spots they actually spawn at. So the first thing you want to do is place down a pumpkin right there. Now my stem is facing in this direction, so that means the pillagers are going to be spawning on this corner right here. So go ahead, take some glass panes, make a square like that, and now we know that a pillager is going to spawn inside of there. Now you want to do that for all of these 4 outskirt spots. So place this down, the little stem is facing in this direction. So I'm going to make a box there and then leave that open. And now do this for all 4 of the other spots. All right, there we go. So now I have all 4 of these spots done here, all 5 of these spots, sorry. Now what we want to do is actually make our AFK platform. Now the AFK platform, make sure when you're doing this, you are on a simulation distance of 4 chunks. I found the best spot for me to AFK is 30 to 40 blocks into the air. So when you're doing this, don't go lower, otherwise the pillagers on the lower levels might spawn in more. Slow down the rates up here. So when you're doing this, go about 30 or 40 blocks into the air. You can already see just me building up to that height. I do already have some of these pillagers and the pillager captain stuck inside of the square. Now, since this was a 2-sided one of these other ones should be filling up. So I'm going to go up to this block here, or to my AFK platform. That's 30 to 40 blocks into the air. And eventually I will see one of these other spots. This one right here has filled in with my pillagers. Now, before I checked that this one was facing, I believe it was east. So that's how I know that only 2 spawn spots are going to be here. So mark down these 2 spots and then you can get rid of all of these other squares. If you can't tell, this is not a small amount of pillagers inside of these here either. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 in this one, and then 5, 6 over here. So there was 6 pillagers that spawned there in this small amount of time, and we're going to kill all of those pillagers and steal their ominous potions. So for this next part, you can actually go ahead and not only break this chest here, but also break all of these glass panes because we're not going to need those anymore. What you're going to want to remember though is which corner the glass panes were over, and then turn that corner into 4 blocks like that. So these glass panes were over this corner. I'm going to break those 3 blocks and fill them in with a solid block, just different to the surroundings, so I know which area to surround with the Trident killer, which is what we're going to build right now. The first thing you want to do is take a piston, place one right there, turn and place one, turn and place one, turn and place one, just like that. You then want to take an observer and place it like that so the arrow is facing into the piston, and then do that again for all 4 of these sides. Oh, and you can also go ahead and block this area up. There we go. And then you want to do that for the 4th side. There we go. Now I'm going to take my redstone torch and place it on the side of the piston, and when you do this, you should see 1 piston extend out, and then 2 pistons, 3 pistons, and then finally a 4th piston, and now it should be going in a circle like this. Now what you can do is put a lever on one of these pistons, and you're going to turn this Trident killer off now. Now for however many spawn spots you have, you want to do that for the other spot. So for me, I'm going to do another Trident killer right around this spot here. Now that I've got both my Trident killers set up, I'm actually going to go ahead and set up some redstone touching both of these pistons here, and then put a lever in between so I can turn them both on and off with the same lever. There you go. I like how that looks. Once you've got all of your Trident killers set up, the next thing you want to do is drop down to one of the lower levels. We're going to place 1 torch in the middle, and then 4 torches on all of the sides. This is just to make sure that no pillagers spawn in these middle layers and slow down the rates up there as well. So I'm going to do this for this layer as well, and then place the torches in the middle and the corners. And then I will drop down one more time, and you want to place torches on all 4 of the walls again, just like that. Now head back up to the top of your farm, and then drop 1 layer below these here, and we're going to get started with the farm. The first thing you want to do is be able to see these 4 blocks. So I'm going to break my way over here as well so I can see those 4 blocks freely. Now, if you only have 1 spawn spot, here's what you're going to want to do. Place down 2 chests on the ground. I'm going to have to move this torch. 2 chests on the ground with 1 hopper on top, and then take a rail and a hopper minecart right there, and that's going to pick up all of the items. Now, if you're wondering, it is only covering 1 of the blocks. However, this Trident killer will push the items in a circle, so eventually it will be picked up by this hopper minecart down below. Now, the thing is, if you have 2 of these, we are going to hook them up to 1 main chest system, and I'm going to show you guys that right now. If you have 2 or more of these spawn spots, what you want to do is place down 2 chests, and then I recommend doing 2 hoppers on top of those. You then want to take a row of blocks and extend it 1 block past your 2x2 square, just like that, and then build 1 block up and break that one there. You then want to take a powered rail and put it underneath of there, a redstone torch right there, or if you don't want to do it like this, you can also just have like a redstone block on the side, a redstone torch on the side, but this is just the most compact. Then take your regular rails and bring them all the way, and then connect it to this side as well. So I'm going to bring this 1 block past, go up, break that with a redstone torch, place my powered rail, and then normal rails going all the way back to this. Now you want to take a hopper minecart, and it's going to continuously go back and forth, pick up the items from this one, drop them off, items from that one, drop it off, and so on between all of your spawn spots. Once you're done with the system down here, come on back up to your Trident killers and throw 1 Trident onto every one of the Trident killers, and then you can go ahead and turn those on. Now what you want to do is take 8 blocks and place them in a ring on top like this, just to make sure that no pillagers or pillager captains are able to escape. There you go. Now you want to make a way for yourself to get up and down from your AFK platform. You can see I picked scaffolding here, but you can use ladders, bubble elevator, ender pearls, elytra, whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you use. Now all you have to do is stand up here and turn your game on to easy, normal, or hard mode for the best drops. And then as you're going to see, pillager captains will start to spawn in there, drop their ominous potions, and they'll be put in the chest below. So as you can see, that pillager captain just spawned inside of there, and then he did die. And if I come down here, you'll see that this minecart has picked it up and put the ominous bottle inside of our chest. Okay guys, this farm is actually crazy. I've had it on for like maybe 3 minutes, and I've gotten 5 ominous bottles. Oh my god, this farm's crazy, guys. Make sure to check it out. Now real quick, big shout out to the guys over on my Discord. A lot of them over there helped me figure out how the spawning mechanics work for pillager outposts, the directions, everything. It's really confusing. They helped me over there so I could help you guys here. So definitely check out the Discord if you haven't already. As always, you could download this world. It's the first link in the description. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. If you take 1 hour to build this farm behind me, for the rest of your Minecraft world, you are never going to have any more issues with fuel. Let me take you through how this farm works. So up here you have this kelp duplicator that duplicates kelp and puts it down inside of these smokers. These smokers turn the kelp into dried kelp, puts it down inside of this crafter here, and as you just saw, this crafter then shoots out the dried kelp blocks up this stream and into this back minecart here. You then take the item you want to smelt and you put it in this minecart here. And then literally all you have to do is flick both of these levers and all of your items are going to be evenly distributed throughout the chests. You can see all of the dried kelp blocks are down here and all of the items that you want to smelt are being put up here. Now, the best part about this farm is you can leave this forever. This is always going to create more fuel. This is always going to work. So no more mining for coal, no more having to do the hard work of taking the items out of a chest and putting it into the fuel, into the furnace. This farm does it all for you, so definitely check this one out. Now, if you haven't noticed, this thing is pretty complicated and you might mess up along the way, so make sure you don't skip any parts of the video. You watch from beginning to end. I'm going to go really slowly for this farm, so if you just take it step by step, you are going to be able to follow this farm. Now, if it doesn't work, go to the first link in the description, join my Discord, and you can download this world. So if something's not working, you can literally walk around and make sure that this here looks like how you built it in your world. But with that out of the way, here's the materials list, and let's get straight into this fully automatic super smelter. We're going to start off with building the super smelter part, and then we're going to get into all the confusing stuff with the kelp duplicator and the crafter and everything like that. So the first thing you want to do is decide how many furnaces you want to have. For me, I'm going to do 8 just because I think this is a solid amount, but of course you can do however many you want to do. The first thing you want to do is place down 2 chests at the end, and this is where all of the finished smelting items are going to go. And then you want to place down 1 hopper for each one of the furnaces. So like I said, I'm going to place down 8 hoppers. And then on top of all of those hoppers, you want to go ahead and place down 1 furnace, just like that. And this can also be blast furnaces, smokers, anything like that. Now, the next thing you want to do is take 8 more hoppers and place them behind all of the furnaces, just like that, making sure that all of the sticks are leading into the furnaces, as you can see here. And then you want to do this one more time on top, placing 1 hopper on each one of the furnaces, just like that. Now, what you want to do is come to the opposite side of your chest, so come over here, build out 1 block like that, and then go up 2, and just like that, and then do the same thing here. So 1 block there, up 2, and then break that 1. And take 2 redstone torches and place them underneath of those blocks. Now what you want to do is place a powered rail there, followed by normal rails, or this can be powered, whatever you want, doesn't really matter. And then you want to do the same thing here, so over 1 again, up 2 like that, and then place a powered rail there. Now down here is going to be a little bit different, but the same on this side. So you want to start off by placing down a powered rail. If they connect like this, it's not a worry, just place the second rail first, and then place the first rail, and they shouldn't connect. Go ahead and bring them all the way down to this side, but this time you want to go out 2 blocks just like that and then go up. Place another normal rail like that and then a powered rail there, and it should connect just like this. Now coming to the front, what you want to do is place 1 block in that spot there and then 2 levers on the front. Now this left lever is going to control the top minecart, which is going to be where the items you want to smelt go. And then this one right here is going to be controlling the fuel rail back here. Now you want to make sure this isn't connected, so go ahead and just replace it. Again, if it's connecting like this, place the second rail and then the first one, and it should be fine. If it keeps doing this, just kind of fiddle around with it until they don't connect together. But in the end, it should look like this. And like I mentioned, these levers do control both of these. Now that the super smelter portion is done, we get to move on to the rest of the farm. Now again, this part can get really confusing, so make sure to watch very carefully, and I'll try to go as slow as possible. Hey, by the way, if you like this seed that I'm playing on, you can check out a full showcase of this seed and many more just like this one on my seeds channel. That is going to be down in the description as well. So to get started with this part, you're going to want to go to this final block here. I've just laid this out so it's easy for you guys to count. From the chest, you want to go over 1, 2, 3. And then from this way, you want to go 1, 2, 3, and it should be on that final block right there. Make sure it's on this final block. What you want to do is break that block and then 1 to the right, break it down 1 more time, and then place 2 sticky pistons facing upwards like that. You now want to take 2 pieces of sand and put it on top of those sticky pistons. Then take 2 blocks, and if I didn't already mention, this can be any solid block, does not matter. And you want to place 4 of them just like that. Then go ahead and take 2 sticky pistons and face them in that direction with 2 pieces of sand on top of those blocks. Now coming over to the side with the chest, you're going to want to take a redstone torch and place it on the side of that sticky piston. And then what you want to do is grab your observers and place 2 of them facing upwards on top of that redstone torch. So the face here is looking down and the redstone dot is up. Then take a solid block and place it on top of there. And then take a piece of redstone and place it on top of that solid block. Now take 2 pistons and face it in the same direction as the other pistons, and then place 1 block on the side there, and 6 blocks down here just like this. Now what you want to do is place 9 blocks on both of these sides, so 1 there, and then just like that. And then go ahead and take 4 more blocks and place them down there. Now what you want to do is come around the back of these pistons and place 2 blocks right there. Place 1 temporary block on top of either one of the pistons, and then take 2 upside down stairs and place them like that with 2 signs on the front. Now take 2 solid blocks and place them beside the stairs. And then you want to take your 4 more signs and place 2 of them right there. And then place 2 of them up there so it looks like this. We're now going to get started on the main redstone portion of the farm, so make sure to stick in there and watch carefully. The first thing you want to do is go to the right side of this chest and then break out those 2 blocks, and then take it 3 more blocks back for a total of 2 by 4. Now take this 2 more blocks down, and we are going to end up replacing most of these blocks. It's just so we have an area to work. Now what you want to do is go behind this chest and place 4 blocks just like that, and then go ahead and break that center block. Now what you want to do is take a lever and place it right there. Take a redstone torch and place it on the block, not on the ground, but on the block. Then take a redstone repeater and place it facing in that direction, and make sure you tick this once. And then take a piece of redstone and place it down there. This is going to create our redstone clock, but for now you can just go ahead and turn that off. Now what you want to do is take your second redstone repeater. You want to come over here and place it facing in this direction towards the kelp farm, and then go ahead and tick this once as well. Now what you want to do is break out all of these blocks until we can see those pistons, and then go ahead and place 4 pieces of redstone dust just like that. And then what you want to do is break out all of those, and then place 1 more piece of redstone dust there, and 1 right there, and now both of these pistons should be extended. Now, as you can see, we broke a ton of blocks. All we really did was just connected this redstone ticking thingy, the clock, sorry, to these pistons over here. So if you want to test it, when you turn this on, those pistons should be going up and down at a significantly slower speed because both of these are ticked. But again, for now, you can go ahead and shut that off. And what I'm actually going to do is just cover up this top row of blocks just because I think it looks a lot nicer. Now coming around to the back here again, you want to place 1 piece of redstone on top of that there, and it should light up. And then place 4 more in this direction so you have 5 redstone dust placed down. Now in the direction of the kelp farm, you're going to want to place down 3 pieces of redstone like that, 2 blocks right there, and then 2 pieces of redstone right there. Now if you want to test to make sure this part is working again, what you want to do is flick this lever, and you should see that this sand kind of temporarily falls down. I don't know if you can see that. This stuff gets pushed, this goes back and forth, and it kind of falls down for a second before being pushed back. This is exactly how you want this to be. But again, for now, you are going to want to flick that lever and keep it like that. And both of these pistons should be extended with this redstone torch turned off. Now, believe it or not, that is about half of the redstone done for this farm. I know I told you it might be complicated, but as you just saw, it is pretty straightforward if you just follow step by step. Now for this next part, it might be helpful to make yourself an infinite water source because we are going to need 6 buckets of water. What you want to do is come back up to the kelp farm, and we're going to finish this now. So what you want to do is take your 2 pieces of sand and place them on those extended pistons there, with 2 buckets of water on top of those sand. Now, make sure you have those 2 blocks right there and those 2 blocks there. Otherwise, when we place the rest of the water, it is going to mess up all the redstone down below. But what you want to do is take your 2 buckets of water and place it inside of those stairs, and then take 2 buckets of water and place them inside of both of those pistons. Now, what you want to do is take 3 pieces of redstone, connected all the way across just like that, and then go ahead and place your 2 pieces of kelp right there. Now, if you come down here and turn this on, as you're going to see, the kelp should be getting duplicated. If it is not, make sure that all of your redstone is done correctly. For now, however, we are going to go ahead and turn that off. And if you want to, you can also go ahead and remove your infinite water source. Also, I realized while I was filming that you don't actually need this piece of redstone here, although it doesn't matter, you can have it if you want to. Now that we're done the kelp duplicator and the auto smelter, it is time to work on the auto crafter. So the first thing you want to do is break out those 2 blocks right there. And then off of these pieces of sand, you want to place down 2 smokers. If you want, this can be furnaces, but smokers will speed up the process significantly and make it way faster. Then take 2 hoppers and place them leading into the smokers. And then you want to place 1 hopper leading into the right side right there. And then you want to place this second hopper leading into that one just like that. So this one leads into there, but then this one leads into the ground. Now what you want to do is break those 3 blocks there, those 4 blocks just like that, and then those 4 blocks there as well. Now what you want to do is place 1 temporary block right there, and then you want to place a crafter like that, and if you want to make sure it is facing in the right direction, you should have the mouth facing to the left, which is towards the super smelter. Now, the next thing you want to do is you can break your temporary block, and then place a redstone comparator so the 2 sticks are facing into the crafter. Then what you want to do is come over here and place a comparator like that so the 2 sticks are facing away from this comparator. Then break that block and place a crafter here, doesn't matter which direction this is facing, and then go ahead and click all 9 of these spots. You have to do this, very important. Then what you want to do is take your repeater and place it like that so it is facing towards this crafter like this. Take 1 piece of redstone and place it down behind right there. And then finally, you want to place 1 solid block right there and a solid block right there. What this is going to do is allow all of the kelp to go into here, be turned into dried kelp, be funneled into here. All of these are going to fill up with dried kelp, and it's going to shoot out the dried kelp blocks. Now, one slight problem with this is you will have to fill up the fuel inside of here, but considering this is a fuel farm, that's okay. You can just take some out of there and put it inside of here. For the start though, you are going to have to put some fuel into there. And then if I go ahead and turn this farm on just to test it, the kelp will go into here, which is then going to be funneled inside of this crafter. As you can see, that is working properly. And then once all of these fill up, it'll be shot out into a dried kelp block. Just waiting on 1 more piece, and when this does fill up, it should turn into a dried kelp block and it shoots it out. That is perfect. This is how it should be. I'm just going to go ahead and turn this off. Now, if you didn't have a dried kelp block get shot out, make sure that all of your redstone is correct, because if that doesn't work, the entire farm is not going to work. Again, you could download this exact world. It's the first link in the description. So if something's not working, you can just walk around my world and see what is different. Now we're getting so close to done this farm. The final thing we have to do is get those dried kelp blocks up into the super smelter. Really quickly, this farm took me quite a while to design. So if you're enjoying, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. For this next part, I'm going to use glass, although you can use whatever solid block you want. It does not matter. I just like to see the items moving upwards. What you want to do is break those 2 blocks there, right beside those hoppers. And then what you want to do is take this piece of redstone here, break it, break the block below it, and then place it down right there. Now what you want to do is take a sign and place it in front of that crafter there. And then go ahead and place a block over top of this repeater. And if you want, you can place one down there, although that doesn't really matter. You just want to take a block and place it over top just like that. Now again, like I said, I'm going to use glass, but use whatever block you want. Go ahead and place 3 of them just like that. And then you want to place 2 buckets of water right there. What this is going to do is take the items that the crafter shoots out, and it is going to spit it upwards, because as you can see, this has created a bubble column. Now go ahead and take 3 more blocks and place them upwards like that. The next thing you want to do is come up to this left sign here, break it, and then place one on that hopper right there, and then go ahead and break that block. This area is going to work the same. This is just because we need a little bit more space to work down here. Now what you want to do is take your second last sign and place it on the side of that hopper. Come over here and place down 4 blocks like that, and then place your final sign over top of that lower powered rail. Now what you want to do is place 2 blocks right there, 2 blocks right there, and then place 1 more block right there. Now the final thing you want to do is take a bucket of water and place it right there, and as you're going to see, this water should flow in this direction. Now, as you're going to see, when this crafter shoots blocks out, they're going to go up this water stream, through this, and then onto that hopper minecart there, and that hopper minecart right there is for all of the items that you're going to be cooking. Now, one final thing I would recommend you guys do is just cover up this area. Again, you can use whatever blocks you want, and you don't even have to cover this up. Make it look pretty, do whatever you want. I'm just going to build it up like this to make sure that all of the kelp actually stays inside of the farm. And I think something like that looks nice. But believe it or not, that is the entire farm complete. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to use it now. So like I've mentioned a couple times, what you want to do is take the item that you're going to smelt and make sure that this minecart is pushed all the way towards this block, by the way, otherwise they might start to flow into this furnace. But what you want to do is take that item and put it inside of that hopper minecart there. And if you have a lot of items, you can just take a chest and a hopper and lead it into this, and then put the items into that chest. Now, you can go ahead and flick this lever on, and all of those items are going to be evenly distributed throughout all of these furnaces. Now, to turn on the kelp farm, all you have to do is flick this lever. However, if you're going to notice, mine did not work. This is why it's very important to double check all of your work, because if you come underneath here, at one point in time, water fell down and it broke my redstone torch on the side of this block, and that is why my farm was not working. And as you can see, it's now kind of bugging out, so go ahead and turn that off, and we're going to have to fix the farm. So the easiest way to fix the farm if it's broken is just break all of the sand and replace it. So break that sand there and replace it, break that sand there and replace it, and then come inside of here, break this, can I come under? Thank you. Break that sand right there and replace it. Now, when I place my pieces of kelp back, and you come down here, I'm just gonna replace these really quickly. You come down here, you flick this lever, and as you can see, my kelp duplicator is now working. So, kelp is being duplicated, it is going inside of these smokers, and as you can see, those dried kelp blocks, I don't know if you guys caught that, but the dried kelp from the crafter was turned in, shot up here, and then it got put inside of this here. Now, I don't know why sometimes the tracks mess up. Again, just make sure that these tracks are right, because otherwise it's not gonna work. And now for the fuel. You cannot flick this lever yet. I'm just gonna turn this kelp duplicator off for now because I have plenty of kelp. You cannot flick this lever yet, because obviously if you have one kelp block inside of here, as you can see, they're flowing up nicely. If you have one kelp block there, it's always going to go into this first furnace. So what you have to do is sit here for a little bit and let these kelp block, or the dried kelp blocks, sorry, build up inside of here. And then finally, once you have enough of them, then you can flick this lever. And as you can see, all of the fuel is evenly distributed throughout these furnaces. Now, once all of the dried kelp blocks back there are done being used, you can either leave it on or you can just go ahead and flick this lever off. Flick this lever off, and that is your fully self-sustaining auto smelter done. So there you go, a really complicated build that I tried to make as simple as possible for you guys, and trust me, while I was building this, I even had some mess ups on the way, so make sure that you follow the steps carefully if you haven't already built it. Also, again, for the third time, you could download this world. It's the first link in the description. But that's going to be all for today's video. This farm did take me quite a while to design, so please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. Here's how to build this really simple auto sorter in Minecraft Java and Bedrock Edition. You could download this world, first link in the description. The first thing you want to do for this is decide how many items you want to sort. For me, I'm going to sort 5 items, although like I mentioned, you can sort as many or as little items as you want. So like I just said, I'm going to sort 5 items. So the first thing you want to do is place down 1 chest for every item that you're going to sort. And then I'm going to make these double chests just because I like having the extra storage. And then I'm also going to make these 2 chests high, sorry. You don't have to make them 2 chests high. I just like to have the extra storage for every single one of the items. Now come around to the back and place 1 hopper into the back of every single one of these chests, making sure that all of the prongs of the hoppers go into the chest so it looks like this. Now coming behind these hoppers, go 1 block away and then place down 1 block behind every single one of the hoppers like that. Now come around to here, take 1 redstone torch and place it on the block, not on the ground but on the block, and again place 1 behind every single one of the hoppers. Now coming over here, you want to take 1 redstone repeater and face it in this direction, making sure it looks like this, and then of course place 1 of those behind all of them as well. Now what you want to do is behind all of the hoppers, take 3 blocks like that, 1 block down, and then of course do that behind all of your hoppers. I think by now you guys get that you want to do it behind every single one of them, so I'm just going to stop saying that. So now it should be looking something like this. The next thing you want to do is take 1 piece of redstone and place it on those 3 blocks, and then just like that, there we go. Now take a redstone comparator, face in this direction and place it like that, making sure that the 1 redstone side is towards the redstone and the 2 redstone side is towards these hoppers. And then I'm going to place 5 down like that. Now what you want to do is take 1 hopper and lead it into the comparator. Make sure when you do it, the little thingy, the prong, looks like this. It's not going into the hopper. Make sure it's going into the comparator. This is really important. A lot of people see like this. That's not going to work. When you're doing it, make sure it's facing into the comparator just like that. A lot of people have issues with this farm. It's because they're facing it into the hopper, not into that. So now your farm should be looking something like this. We're now done the redstone portion of the build. All we have to do now is decide which item we want to go inside of all of the chests. And we also have to set up a garbage chest, which we're going to do right now. If you don't know, a garbage chest is a chest where all the items that don't have a designated chest are going to go. So if you sort 5 items here, but you put in a 6th item that's not being sorted, it's going to go into this final chest. For me, I'm going to put it on this side. So what you want to do is take 1 block, place it beside the hoppers, and then place a chest on top of that block. Now you want to take your remaining hoppers and lead them into that chest so it looks like this. Now the final thing you want to do is take 1 final chest and put it on the opposite side of this one. So I'm going to put it right there. This is where you're going to actually put all of the items to be sorted throughout the entire machine. So now your farm should be looking like this. Now these are the 5 items I'm going to be sorting. On top of those, you're going to need 1 random block. Doesn't matter what this block is, I'm just going to use dirt. In this hopper that is leading into the comparator, this is where you're going to want to do all of this. What you want to do is open up that hopper, and let's say I want to do diamonds for this hopper here. What you want to do is take your random item and put it in those 4 spots, and then in this 5th spot, you want to put the item that you want to sort. Now you're going to see this is going to tick down. It should tick all the way down until 41 items. If you see this stops at 41, you know that you have done this correctly. Here you go, it stops at 41, and then you can go into this chest down here and collect the remaining items. Now go ahead and do that for however many item sorters you want to have. If you've done it correctly as well, you should see that this comparator turns on and the torch underneath turns off. Alrighty, so as you're going to see now, I have my 5 items that I'm sorting and 1 item that I'm not sorting. I'm going to put it all inside of this chest right here, and as you're going to see, they're going to be taken by that chest, and then they're going to be sorted properly into these chests. You can see these should all fill up to 24. There we go. And this one should be at 2 because I put 2 items in. And then those final pieces of wood should go into this final chest. And your auto sorter is completed. That's going to be all for today's video. You could download this exact world that I'm playing on here. It's the first link in the description. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. In this video, we're going to build this really easy, fully automatic 9-block AFK fish farm for Minecraft Bedrock 1.21. This fish farm will give you everything you ever need. It'll give you enchanted items, saddles, name tags, everything. And it takes 9 blocks. For the entire farm, 9 blocks. So the first thing you want to do is break 4 blocks in the ground, placing either 1 or I recommend placing 2 chests in the first spots, with a hopper leading into the chest, a fence on the hopper, and then placing a water bucket on that fence, and you'll see it flows into that hole. Now place a note block there, a block on top of that note block. You're going to have to shift to do that. Place a trapdoor on this block on top, not the note block, but the bottom of this top block. I know that's kind of confusing. And then place a pressure plate on top of that fence. And there we go. The whole farm is complete. Now this farm is really easy to use, but it's also complicated at the same time. It's hard to explain. To use the farm, stand as close to this water as you can without going into it. Look at the edge of this pressure plate here, but not on the trapdoor. And you want to hold down your place block button. And as you're going to see, it's going to be thrown onto the pressure plate, and then you're going to be spamming the note block behind. And once you catch a fish, this will go down. You'll recast your rod and it'll go back onto this note block. And this is your fully AFK fish farm. Now, if you want to make it fully AFK instead of having to stand here, either put something on your place block button so it's always holding down, or you want to grab yourself, go into the first link in the description and pull up this auto clicker that I have. Make sure it's set to right click around 800 milliseconds. And then all I have to do is stand here. I click the F6 button because that's what the hotkey is. And now it's going forever. I can sit here, come back half an hour later and have full chests of stuff. I can have the XP in my inventory. This is an amazing, fully automatic AFK fish farm and not one that you guys want to miss. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. We've all been there. You have thousands of concrete powder that you want to turn into concrete, but you don't want to do it the traditional way of placing it in water and breaking the concrete. This right behind me is the perfect farm for you. Literally all you have to do is stand here and hold down your right click. Once your concrete gets pushed to the end, come over here, click this button, a piece of TNT will fall onto here, it'll break the concrete, and then it'll automatically put it inside of this chest down below, automating the concrete powder to concrete process. If this interests you, make sure you stick around till the end of the video because this farm is so easy to set up, yet so useful. There are 2 different ways that we're going to be building this farm. The first way is going to be just regular concrete powder to concrete, and then you go ahead and mine the concrete with a pickaxe. The second way, it turns the concrete powder into your concrete, but then you click a button, TNT falls and it all gets automatically put inside of a chest. If you look at the timestamps right below this video, you can go ahead and skip to where that second part of the video starts, but it does build off of the first part of the farm, so you're going to want to make sure to watch through for that. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is place down 5 blocks on the ground like that, and then go ahead and break down those 2 blocks and that one right there. Now what you want to do is take a bucket of water and place it inside of that, and it should flow down this hole. Take a redstone torch, place it right there. Take a piston, place it there, and then 2 redstone dusts like that. Now to use the farm, what you want to do is take your concrete powder, place it down there, and you can see it gets turned into concrete by this water. Then every single block that you place down here, it gets pushed by this piston and it all gets turned into this concrete powder. Now what we want to do is make it so the concrete doesn't just get pushed in a line, but it then gets pushed over to this side as well, made into a convenient square, so we can either blow it up with the TNT or mine it a lot easier. Now I'm going to go ahead and break both of those. And what you want to do is decide how many blocks you want to let it push before you actually turn it into the square. For me, I'm going to do 5. So you want to place down all of your pistons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. You then want to take an observer and you want to place it down at the end there with the redstone dot facing in this direction. Next, you want to take 1 piece of redstone dust and place it right there with a repeater like that. 2 redstone there, 1 repeater there, and 1 repeater just like that. Now what you want to do is take this redstone out 3 and then go ahead, run it all the way down past these pistons. Now every single time a block goes in front of this observer, you can see all of the pistons are going to push out. Now the final thing you're going to want to do for this is go ahead and take a slab, place a temporary block there and a slab just like that, and this will make it a lot easier to click and hold down the blocks without it accidentally building up. So now all you have to do is look. You can look in a couple different spots. You can look right here, you can look right here, you can look on this redstone torch, whatever you want. Just hold down the button and you're going to see the concrete powder will be turned into concrete, and then once it reaches the end, all of that over there will be pushed, and then of course you can continue to hold down and you see it gets pushed further and further, and you can just hold down all of your concrete powder and you'll see in the top left of the screen there, the concrete keeps getting turned and pushed into this square. And then whenever we are done, sorry, I can't speak right now. Whenever we are done turning our concrete powder into concrete, we can run over here and mine it all to make it super easy and convenient for us. Now, the next part of this video is going to be getting into if you want to make this automatic with some TNT and a collection system. So for this part, what you're going to want to do is come right in line with this block here, and then go from piston to piston and break those blocks, and then a line across like that. So you should have something that looks like this. And then you want to break it 7 more blocks in this direction. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then of course do that for every single block that we have here. So now that we have this area here, this is what is actually going to push the items down into our chest collection system. So I'm actually going to go ahead and block this off for now. And what you want to do is take your 2 buckets of water, place them down just like this, and then take from the infinite water source that you've made and keep placing the water until you have it flowing all the way down to the end here. Now what you want to do is break this final row of blocks like this, and then you're going to want to break down 1 more row of blocks right here. You want to take a bucket of water and place it right there, and then go ahead, break this block right down here, place a chest in there, and then break this block and take a hopper just like that. Now there's 2 different things you can do here. You can either place a sign on top to stop the water from flowing, or what I like to do is just take a piece of glass and place it on top of that chest. So you can still go ahead, open it up and grab your concrete, but at the same time, the items that flow down here and into this will still be able to be picked up by that hopper and go inside of this chest. So now that we have the collection system done, the next thing we need to do is add the dispenser that is going to drop the TNT down and blow up our concrete. But right before we do that, we're going to have to add a stop to make sure that the concrete doesn't go past this water and the TNT will still be in range of it. So to do this, what you want to do is place a temporary block on this row here, and then place 1 piece of obsidian in front of each one of your pistons. And this is because pistons cannot push obsidian. So like I just mentioned, when you're over here placing down all of your concrete powder, turning into concrete, it'll get pushed, but it will never go past that row of obsidian. The next thing we need to do is actually add the TNT that is going to blow up our concrete. So what you want to do is go 3 blocks from here. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to want to go in the middle. So for me, I have 5 pistons. So you want to count in 1, 2, 3 blocks and then place 1 down right there. From here, you're going to want to build up 8 more blocks for a total of 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We now want to place a downward facing dispenser on top of this block. So what you want to do is build up 2 more blocks, place a block somewhere down there so you can stand on it, break the second to the top block, and then place a downward facing dispenser, not sideways. Place a, where did it go? Sorry, place a downward, okay, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to go down a block. All right, there we go. See, it can be a little annoying in survival, but you want to place a downward facing dispenser. There you go. And then you want to load this up with all of your TNT. Geez, that was complicated. All right, you can now go ahead and break some of your temporary blocks for now, but not all of them, because what you want to do is place 1 block to the side like that, and then you want to staircase all the way down to your grass. So just going to do something like this and make a staircase. This staircase is going to have our pieces of redstone on top of it, which is what is actually going to send the signal up and tell the TNT to drop down there. So make a staircase all the way down and then place redstone on top of the blocks. I also recommend breaking these blocks here because the TNT might affect that part of the build. So you can go ahead, break all of these, and then finish that staircase. So you should now have this staircase going down with 1 piece of redstone dust on top of each of the blocks. Now what you want to do is continue this redstone path down and then place a button, honestly wherever you want, just make it somewhere within reach of where we're placing down our concrete powder. Now what you want to do is take a redstone repeater and place it down so when you actually click the button, the TNT is dispensed, but make sure not to click the button with the TNT unless there is concrete powder there, otherwise the TNT is going to fall, it's going to be pushed over there, and then it's going to blow up something which will get quite annoying. Now, to use the farm, what you want to do is, like I mentioned earlier, you want to stand here and hold down either right here, or on this torch right here. Literally all you have to do is hold down your right click or your place block button, and you're going to see the concrete will be pushed, and then it'll eventually reach the obsidian. Now this is the most automated that you can make this farm. The only other way that you can make it more automatic is setting up a system to automatically dispense the TNT. Now one thing that you do want to be careful of, as you can see, the concrete has now reached the obsidian. If you keep placing this down, as you're going to see, the pistons can no longer push the obsidian. So if it gets to this point and you place down 1 more concrete powder, that observer is going to end up getting pushed by this piston and it's going to break the farm. So when you're doing this, make sure you don't do it too far because otherwise every time you're going to have to keep fixing the farm. Now, like I mentioned earlier, all I have to do now is come over here, click this button, a piece of TNT is going to fall, and then you will see it blow up the concrete. All of the concrete will go into the water, and if it doesn't, like you can see here, you can simply take this and extend the water path so the water is wider and it doesn't fall at the sides. But then it'll all be collected and it will go inside of this chest down here. Now I'm actually going to do what I just mentioned because I think it's probably a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and just extend this out here a little bit just to make sure that all of the items are actually able to make it into the chest at the end. So just extend this 1 block here. Dig this down, extend this 1 block, and then if you want, you can also do it on the other side. But now, again, all you have to do is hold down the concrete powder, click the button, the TNT comes down, and then all of the drops will go inside of this chest. That's going to be all for today's video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, you could download this exact world. It's the first link in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. Here's how to build the easiest and most compact villager breeder in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This villager breeder is super compact, doesn't take up a lot of space, so you're not going to need a very big area to build it. To start off, what you want to do is take any temporary block, does not matter, place 6 of them down like that, with 3 beds on top. You can then go ahead and break all those temporary blocks and then place beds underneath. I'm stacking these beds on top of each other to save space, although you don't have to have them stacked on top. You could pretty easily just have 6 of them lying down. Now again, you don't have to do it right beside these beds, but I'm going to do it just to save space. You want to go ahead and break a 3x3 square in the ground, and then go ahead and make that square 2 blocks deep. Now place 1 temporary block right there with a slab on the top of it like that, and then go ahead and place 2 more slabs up just like that. You then want to take a bucket of water and place it down right there. And then you want to break the blocks on this opposite side until the water stops flowing. So my water stops flowing right here. And then you can go ahead and just make yourself a nice little area for the villagers to sit. Now I would recommend covering this area up. Of course, it doesn't have to be glass, and you even don't have to cover it up. I'm just doing this to make sure that when the villagers sit in here, no zombies at nighttime run up and end up killing all of our villagers. The next thing you want to do is place 1 temporary block right there. another one on top, and then go ahead and place 4 pieces of glass here. Again, this does not have to be glass. I'm just doing it because I think it looks a lot nicer. Now you want to place 2 workstations. I'm going to use composters, but you can use whatever you want. And again, you can place them pretty much wherever they want. It's not a very specific farm, but I'm going to place 1 beside the bed right there, and then 1 beside the bed right there as well. The next thing you want to do is take your 4 trapdoors and place them on the side of these blocks here. And the reason we do this is so when the villagers actually spawn, they are able to walk over the edge. They think it's a full block, walk down into the water, and then they get pushed down over here. Now the final thing we have to do is actually get 2 villagers inside of here. So the first thing I recommend doing is making a staircase to get up. Now the easiest way that I find to get them inside is with a pretty simple rail system, although you can really do it however you want. But all you have to do is push them up. And then once he gets up to about here, just walk over, punch it out, and then try to push him into the hole as quick as possible to make sure that he doesn't walk over here. And like I mentioned, you want to get 2 of them inside of here. So here's our second villager, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just push him up here. And then once he gets within the area, just kind of shove him over the hole, punch it, and hope he falls in. If he doesn't fall in like this, kind of annoying, just repeat the process. All right, so let's try this again. I'm going to push him in. Once he gets close, just kind of push him over top and punch it out and hope he falls in. There we go. And now, of course, since you have your 2 villagers inside, you can go ahead and break whatever system you use to get them inside. Using the villager breeder is very simple. You're either going to need some carrots, bread, or potatoes. And of course, the more you throw in, the more babies that are going to come out. So I'm going to throw a stack in. All you have to do is walk up to it, throw it on top of them, and then eventually you should start to see the hearts coming up. And then once they do come, a villager will eventually pop out, walk over the trapdoors into the water, and then be pushed down inside of this area. Okay, and there's the baby. I don't know if you can see him, but he's sitting right there. And then like I mentioned, eventually the baby will walk over and then be pushed down to our area here. Might get stuck for a second here, but eventually they'll stop jumping and they will be pushed over. And as you can see, they've already started breeding with more. And of course, if you see them stop doing this, you can go ahead and just throw some more food in. And perfect, there we go, straight to our collection area. With that, if you guys enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. You could download this exact world, it's the first link in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. This is without a doubt the best Froglight Farm in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. It's also super easy to set up and gives you over 9 stacks of Froglights every hour, which if you're wondering, looks a little something like this. Let's get right into the video. Now the first thing I'm going to mention is this is a dangerous farm. It is a very hard farm to build because you are in a Bastion Remnant with all of these guys running around who can very easily kill you. As well, as far as I'm aware, there's not any efficient way to stop the magma cubes from spawning unless you are on peaceful mode. If you're on easy, normal, or hard and don't want to switch it, they will continue to spawn as you're building the farm, which will make it very, very difficult to build. But with that, we're going to get into the tutorial. So the first thing you want to do is find yourself, like I mentioned, a Bastion Remnant like this, where you have a magma cube spawner. The reason for this is because you have to have the magma cubes killed by the frogs to actually get the Froglights. Again, I would highly recommend clearing out this space before you actually build this farm because it will make it very complicated. With all that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. The first thing you're going to want to do is break the chain over top of the spawner and 1 block up as well, and then place 2 solid blocks. I'm going to use smooth stone, but you can use any block that you want. Just make sure it's not dirt, otherwise Enderman might be able to pick that up and mess up the farm. Now underneath of this spawner here, you're going to want to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks there. Now, as you just saw, I did place quite a few blocks inside of the lava, and we are going to end up doing that a couple of times. So if it's helpful for you, you might want to take some sand, some gravel blocks, anything gravity like that, and drop it down this lava to clear all this stuff out, because it will just make your life easier. Now, what you want to do is go 5 blocks in all directions. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then break into the wall and go 5 there. And then again, do that for all 4 of the sides, or 5. There you go. So you should now have 5 blocks branching off from all 4 sides, and then you should have 2 blocks above. Now what you want to do is clear out all of the blocks in this range. So all of these blocks here, gonna have to clear them out. All of these blocks, clear them out. This is because we're gonna make one big spawning box for the magma cubes to spawn in. Once you're done doing that, your area should look like this. And as you can see, we have no blocks that are within this range. Now what you want to do is go 1 more block higher like that, and then you can go ahead and break all of these blocks here. You then want to take a slab and place it on top of that spawner, and then you can go ahead and make a roof at this height, and this roof is going to be the size of this box. Now, if you're wondering, the reason we are doing the roof before the walls is just to prevent these guys up here from dropping onto your heads. Otherwise, if you build the walls first and then one of them drops in, you are going to be stuck in a box with them. So putting a roof first just makes sure that they won't be able to do that. So once you're done with that, you should have a big 11 by 11 roof. It doesn't matter if there's blocks over top, you just don't want to have any blocks underneath. One more thing that I forgot to mention, I would highly recommend you guys bring lots of fire resistance potions, shields, good armor, everything like that, but definitely some fire resistance potions because they are very helpful. For one, obviously if you fall into the lava you can survive, but two, if you are about to die to these guys, you can just drink a potion, jump into the lava, and you are a lot more safe down here than you would be on top of the blocks. Now, if I could just steal you guys for 10 seconds, I just wanted to say thank you. By the time I release this video, our Discord server will have hit 5,000 members, which is absolutely insane. So make sure to go check it out there. You can talk with other subs, download my worlds, get personalized help with your builds, anything like that. It's super, super useful. 5,000 other people are already over there, so make sure to check it out. With that, let's get back into the video. So once you're feeling prepared and you have the roof up here, we can go ahead and get started on the walls. The walls are very simple. All you want to do is connect all of the corners over top of the block, and then go ahead and make one big box that obviously spans up to the roof. Okay guys, I forgot to hit record, but all I said is you're going to want to fill in the floor as well. I keep doing that. I'll be better. But anyways, once you have that, you should have a full box around this spawner with one block above it, and then 4 blocks below, and to all 4 of the sides, just like that. Now really quickly, I'm just going to show you guys how the spawning works for these spawners. I have a pack called Markers Pack by Foxy No Tail. So what I'm going to do is take an armor stand, put a banner in, and then if you shift and cycle through this guy, he has a bunch of different cool things that are great for designing farms, but the one we care about is this one right here, which is the spawning radius for these spawners. As you can see, it is exactly, I believe it's 9 blocks by 9 blocks. And if you break out this wall, you see it doesn't extend further. This is why it is okay to have the box this size, because all of the magma blocks are magma cubes, are going to be spawning inside of this box. If you want to check out this resource pack, the link is down in the description. With that out of the way, the next thing we want to do is come to either one of the 4 sides. It does not matter, but whichever side you pick is going to be your AFK location. You want to come to the middle, so that's going to be 3 blocks from that side and 3 blocks from this side as well. You're going to want to break out 3 blocks by 3 blocks just like this, and then of course cover up any lava that you have. Now again, you are going to want to clear out all of this lava, so I recommend taking some sort of gravity block and placing it down, just in case the lava is more than 1 block deep. You are going to be able to clear that out. As well, you're going to want to place blocks around here just to make sure that no lava is able to flow in and obviously kill us. Now once you've got all the lava cleared out, you're going to want to take this 3 more blocks down for a total of 5 blocks deep. And there you go. Once you have this hole dug, the 3x3 hole at the side of your box, what you want to do is hop down here, and if you're in survival mode, which I'm assuming you are, you might want to go ahead and block this off temporarily just so the magma blocks cannot jump down to you. Now what you want to do is go to any one of these 3 blocks, doesn't really matter. I'm going to pick this one, and you want to lead 1 hopper into it, and then lead 8 more hoppers into those ones, so all of the items are going to lead into this here. Now you can go ahead and temporarily break some of these blocks. Again, be careful for lava because obviously you don't want to die. And then go ahead and place down 2 chests right there. So any of the items that go into these hoppers are all going to go inside of that chest. You then want to take 9 carpet and place them on top of these hoppers. And the reason we do this is so any Endermen that fall into nearby lava are not going to teleport onto here. Now you want to take a bucket of powdered snow. I know it can be annoying, but take a bucket of powdered snow. You do need it. Place it down in the middle. This is going to break down the magma cubes from their biggest form down into their smallest form, so our frogs can then eat them and turn them into the froglights. Now what you want to do is take a piece of glass and place it down right over top of the chest so we can still open it up, and then you can just put any solid block right there. The next thing you want to do is look at this wall here and break out those 6 blocks like that. Now you're going to want to run over to here, and you just want to make yourself a nice sized AFK platform. This doesn't really matter how big this area is. I'm just going to make it 2 blocks by 3 blocks like this. And then of course you want to box in the entire thing just to make sure you are not able to die. And then of course you're also going to want to add a way to get in and out of here. So for me, I'm just going to add some ladders up, and then I'll take a trapdoor and put it on top so I can pretty easily climb in and out of our area. I'm also just going to fill these blocks in because I think it looks nicer, but it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, all you really need is just some box off of the side of this box here where you are going to be sitting and AFKing. Now what you want to do is place down 3 blocks like that, and then 3 slabs right there, and this is where you're going to be sitting. The magma blocks are going to spawn in, they're going to see you standing back here, run towards you, and then fall down into the killing chamber. Which reminds me, now what you want to do is break all the way down, obviously watch out for lava again, until you are able to see your chest. And then you just want to make a way to get up and down from that chest. Got to be really careful of the lava, and there we go. With all of that done, the final thing we have to do is get a frog inside of our hole down here. Now there are a couple different ways to do it, and it depends on which type of Froglight you want to get. Now lucky for you, I think most of you are going to want to get the pearlescent one. If you want to get that, the easiest way to do this without having to do any complicated methods is to get a bucket of tadpole, throw it down inside of here, and then spam down some slime balls, and eventually this tadpole will turn into the pearlescent frog. If you do this in the nether, it is going to turn into this frog every single time. Now the complicated part comes if you want to get the green or the yellow Froglights. So if you want to get either of these, obviously you're going to have to get that type of frog down here. So to do that, you are going to need a nether portal, and then obviously you're going to need a way to get it through the nether portal. So either a minecart and a rail, or a boat and a lead, or anything like that. But of course, the first step is to go ahead and make yourself a nice little nether portal inside of this box. Light it, and then obviously go to the other side. Now for the green Froglight, it does get a little more complicated. You're either going to have to find this specific type of cold swamp biome to get them naturally spawning, or you can do the same thing with a tadpole and a slime ball. Now if you don't want to use a bunch of slime balls, or if you don't have them, you can just place down the tadpole and put them in a box with water and wait for it to grow up, but I don't have the time for that. What I am going to do, however, is still put it inside of a box so it doesn't go flying away when it actually turns into a frog. Just something like this, or I don't know, even that's fine, doesn't really matter. Place down your tadpole, grow them up, and wait, and you'll see since we are in this cold biome, it is going to turn into a green frog. And then obviously get him into my boat, minecart, whatever you're doing, and get it through the nether portal. Okay, so I've gotten my green frog back to the nether portal, and now all you have to do is either boat him through, or I use a lead, so just get him into the range of the portal, and then just break the boat and kind of shove him through, and he'll go through. Perfect, there we go, and he should be on the other side. And now all you have to do is get this guy down this hole. And perfect, there we go. So now I have these 2 guys, and I'm going to show you how to get the yellow Froglight now. Now for the yellow Froglight, it is pretty easy to get. All you have to do is come to any regular biome, doesn't really matter. Place down again your bucket of tadpole, and then go like this, and he will turn into the yellow Froglight frog. Now again, I'm just going to go ahead and get this guy inside of a boat really quickly. If you don't mind, thank you. Put him on a lead, and then get him through the nether portal. Once you're through here, you can go ahead and break your nether portal, or once you have all the frogs that you need, because you're not going to need them anymore. Of course, again, push this guy down inside of there, and I'm going to have one type for all 3, so I can get all 3 different Froglights, but of course, you only need the type that you want. Now, using the farm is very simple. Once you have all of your frogs down inside of the hole, all you need to do is come over here, make sure obviously your blocks are placed down, and then go ahead and turn your game into easy, normal, or hard for the best rates. Now, as you can see, these magma cubes are going to spawn in. When I turn my game into survival mode, they are going to see me, run towards me, and then jump down into that 3x3 hole. Now, if I go back into creative mode, as you're going to see, that snow block right there is going to break this big magma cube down into its smallest form. And then once it's turned down into its smallest form, all these frogs are going to eat these small magma cubes, turn them into their Froglights, and then obviously you can come down to this chest, and all of the drops go inside of here. Now from one big magma cube, I was able to get 8 of these Froglights, and of course, the second that one died, more of these magma cubes were able to spawn. Now all I have to do is stand here, obviously in survival mode. I can stay here all night because you are safe in a box, and you will come back to double chests full of these Froglights. That is all for today's video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for 5,000 Discord members. You could download this exact world if you want. It's the first link in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. Let's build this super easy slime farm for Minecraft Bedrock 1.20+. Alright, the first thing we have to do when we're building the slime farm is find ourselves a slime chunk. Now, if you don't know, a slime chunk is a chunk where, well, slimes can spawn. Slimes can't spawn anywhere in Minecraft, only in specific areas. Now, luckily for Bedrock, it doesn't actually matter what seed you're on. All seeds are the exact same. So what you want to do, either go down into the description and click the second link, or just search like slime chunk finder, something like that. And it's going to take you to a page that looks something like this. You're going to want to make sure you have Bedrock Edition selected. And what we want to do is first go back into Minecraft here, click settings, and then scroll down and hit show coordinates. You can see in the top left right now, I'm at -280 and -70 approximately. So on my map here, I want to find negative, you can see in the bottom left down here, it shows my coordinates, -280 and -70, so right here. Now we want to go to one of these green chunks here. You can go to whichever one you want. If you can find yourself 2 chunks like this side by side, or even 3, you can actually make 3 farms side by side. So it might be useful to go to an area like that. But for me, I'm just going to go to this one here. So you can see in the bottom right, it tells me it's from -288 and -96 to -273 and -81. So I'm going to go back into Minecraft and mark out those coordinates. Now that you've gotten to your location, what I like to do is place down your 2 pillars. Now, the reason I place down pillars and mark the corners is because one time I built the entire farm and realized I was like 2 blocks off, so I had to redo the entire thing. So make sure you have those 2 pillars in the correct locations. If you want to make sure, it should be a 16 by 16 area. So I still have my coordinates on in the top left. What I want to do is come to these blocks here, and in the top left, you can see I am at y = 70. I want to take this down to y = 10. Now, when you go down, if you notice that there's a massive cave nearby, I would recommend not building into that chunk, because any caves that you're near, you are going to have to light up to make sure that they don't affect the rates of our farm. Before you actually dig down the second pillar, one important thing that you should do is remember which direction the other pillar is, because we're going to have to dig down the area. So I've got my whole here all the way down to y = 10, and what you want to do is go 15 blocks in this direction, 15 blocks in that direction, and then connect the 2 and dig out the entire area. So you go from corner to corner, and then also make this 3 blocks high. Alright, and there we go. I've got my entire area dug out from one corner to the other corner, 3 blocks high. Now I got lucky and I didn't actually have any holes in the walls or holes in the ground, but if you do, obviously you're going to want to patch those up so it looks something like mine. And now that we've got this area dug out, you want to make sure, like I mentioned before, to light up any caves that are nearby, otherwise it could slow down or even completely stop the rates of your farm. Once you've got that done, come to the corner and count out 8 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then go in 8 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and break that block. And now around this block, you want to make a 4x4 hole. Oh, there we go. You can see there's a hole down here, so I'm going to have to patch that to make sure that I can actually build my farm correctly. There we go. So I'm going to want to make a 4x4 hole in the center here. Now you want to make sure that there's 6 blocks on every single side. So you can see there's only 5 here, and there's going to be 7 here. So I'm just going to fill this in, make it like this, and now I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing. So I'm going to fill this in, break these until I have my 4x4 hole right in the center of our box. If it's not directly in the center, what could happen is slimes are going to spawn in the corner, and they're not going to be attracted towards the middle, which again could slow down the rates of the farm. And now that we've got our 4x4 hole, what you want to do is take this down 3 more to make it a 4x4 and then 4 blocks deep. Now that we've got the 4x4x4 hole in the center, 4x4 hole in the center, drop down to the bottom and place your 15 magma blocks down here, leaving one of the corners exposed so we can place the chest. You want to temporarily break some of these blocks, placing 2 chests, or however many you want, with a hopper leading into the chest, and this is where the items are going to be collected, obviously. Now place 2 glass blocks on top of the chest, with any 2 random blocks on top of there. It doesn't actually matter what those are. Place a glass pane on top of there, and then turn around and place your bucket of water. So what happens is the slimes are going to get attracted towards the center, jump down into here, die to the magma blocks, and their drops are going to go into the chest. Now that we have this area done, you want to go right above this area and copy that 4x4x4 hole up here. Once you've got this area dug out, you want to extend it 1 more block on each side to make it a 6x6 hole. Now to actually attract the slimes towards the center, we either want to place a snow golem or an iron golem up here. Whichever is more convenient for you, doesn't matter. This is because these 2 mobs attract the slimes, which is then going to have them jumping, trying to attack those mobs, and then falling into our killing area. So we want to place 4 slabs in the middle here. So on any one of these 2 blocks, place 2 like that, with 4 slabs, making sure that they're directly in the middle. Now look up on any one of these 4 blocks, place a fence, and then like I mentioned, you can either do an iron golem, or I like to do a snow golem just because it's more convenient. Wait, crap. Now, take a lead, place them on there, and then place that on the fence. You don't have to put a name tag on this guy since we did make him. He's never going to despawn. Now what might end up happening is he does jump off the platform, in which case you just want to extend these blocks out and extend this platform here so he can't move. Or another thing that you can do is extend this up one more and then place the fence there, but make sure that he's still sitting on top of the slabs. And believe it or not, that is the entire farm complete. Now all we have to do is make the AFK area for the farm. Go to any one of the 4 walls, doesn't matter which one, and dig out 25 blocks in this direction. Once you've dug out the 25, you can make yourself a little room just to AFK down here, whatever you feel like doing, and the entire farm's complete. Now, like you can see, I do have other mobs spawning down here, which we don't want. Since these mobs cannot spawn in light, but slimes can spawn when there's a high light level, what you want to do is take some torches and place them around here, so only slimes are spawning inside of our farm and no other mobs. And look at that, you can already see that one massive slime has spawned in here, and we can watch what happens. Eventually, he's going to get attracted towards the middle. Now, like I mentioned, if you're noticing that they're not seeing it right away, you saw it took him some of these blocks, but you're going to see he jumps down into the middle. He's going to die to the magma blocks, and like I mentioned, all of the items are going to go into this chest, which you can make a staircase down to or place a trapdoor, whatever you want to do. If something's not working on your world, or if you just want to test and make sure it works before you actually build it, you could download this world, just the first link in the description. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. This is the ultimate raid XP farm for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Not only does it fully start and finish your raid, but it also delivers you the ominous bottles into the same chest that you're AFKing at. So all you have to do is drink another bottle and the next raid starts right away. If this interests you, make sure you stick around till the end of the video. Now I know this looks like a lot of materials, but trust me, this farm is absolutely worth it. Now 2 things really quick before we actually get started with this farm. Make sure you're not near any massive mountains, otherwise the raid might spawn on the mountains inside of the farm. And the second thing, head into your settings and make sure your simulation distance is set to 4 chunks. If it's higher and you can't change it, you're just going to have to leave the game and then do it through the settings there. Another thing I should mention, ideally you want your outpost to have 1 spawn spot. I talk a lot more about spawn spots in my previous Ominous Bottle Farm video. If you want to check that out, check the second link in the description or the link in the top right of your screen right now. But the easiest way to check if you have 1, 2, or 4 spawn spots is you place down a pumpkin and you can see that this is pointing to the left or the right, which means it's 2. If it was towards the chest, it'd be 4. If it was away, it would be 1. So ideally you want it to be away from the chest, but this will still work for our case. Once you've got this figured out, the first thing you want to do is clear this entire top area here because we're not going to need any of this. Now that we've got this area cleared out, we need to go ahead and check where the pillagers are going to spawn in our farm. So first of all, this spot right here is a guaranteed spawn spot. There's always going to be a pillager spawning in this spot here. What you want to do is take your pumpkin, place it down there, and then in whichever direction the stem is pointing, so you can see it's pointing this way, this is the corner that the pillagers are going to spawn on. So you want to take 4 iron bars and surround the corner that this stem is pointing towards. Not another one, but this one right here, and this will properly trap the pillagers inside of this box. Now you want to come to where all of these gaps are, and then go to the rightmost fence post, and then place a block right there. And do the exact same thing, so you can see the stem is pointing on this side. If you're wondering, this is just how mobs end up spawning. It's generation. This is the northwest corner of the block. So there you go, place them like that, and then you want to do that for all of these spots again. So again, the rightmost fence post, place that down with a pumpkin, and then do this for every single spot. Alright, there you go. Now we have our 4 possible and 1 guaranteed spawning spot. The next thing we need to do is go 30 to 40 blocks into the air and see which one of these guys starts to spawn these pillagers. Now your AFK location is very important. If you're a couple blocks too low or a couple blocks too high, it could completely change the rates of the farm. The best area that I have found to AFK at this farm is between Y level 30 and 40. So what I'm going to do is go up 30 blocks and then see if my pillagers start to spawn. Okay, so I'm 31 blocks into the air and I'm going to see if my pillagers start to spawn. You now want to turn your game off of peaceful into easy, normal, or hard, and you will start to see that they spawn inside of the little capsule areas. The little square. And then you might start to see more spawning in the other corners, depending on the orientation of your outpost. Now for mine, there is only 1 spot here, even though at the beginning of the video I said there would be 2. It just happened with the chunk borders that this outpost only lined up with 1, so this is the only spot that the pillagers are going to be spawning. So now that I know this, keep this platform here because this is where we want to AFK, and then go ahead and drop back down to your area. Now there should be quite a few villagers inside of here, like 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Okay, so that works. So now that I know all of my pillagers are only spawning in this box here, you can go ahead and get rid of all the other boxes because they're not important. And then once you've got that, you can also go ahead and remove this box, but remember which corner it's around. So I'm going to remove this box, but I'm remembering it's around these corners of blocks. Now before we actually get started with trapping these villagers, let's go on to the lower levels and light up these areas with some torches just to make sure that no pillagers spawn down here. They all spawn up there and inside of your farm. So go down one more layer, do the exact same thing, place down a few torches, and then I'm going to go down one more time and place some torches on this lower level. Now come back up to the top of your outpost and you can go ahead and cover up this staircase. Now if you remember the corner that your pillagers were spawning, so for me that was this corner right here, you want to place scaffolding around that corner like that, and then place 2 more in a direction just like that. Now what you want to do is cover up this scaffolding and make some walls that are 2 blocks high, just to contain not only the water that's going to end up pushing the pillagers, but also just keep the pillagers inside. So do something like that, and then you want to place 4 signs on these end blocks here. There you go. And then you can place 2 buckets of water inside of there. Now, if you want to test to make sure this works before we go any further, you can come back up to your AFK spot and you'll see that the pillagers spawn inside of that water and should be pushed past those signs. There you go. As you can see, the pillager did spawn and he was pushed perfectly towards this block. Now coming back down to this area, you're going to want to break these 2 blocks, replace them with dirt, and then continue these walls around those 2 dirt blocks like that. Now the next thing we're going to do is take a bubble elevator and take these pillagers, pushing them all the way up to where we're AFKing so we can stand there while still collecting the bottles. So to do this, I'm going to use glass, although you can use any block, it doesn't really matter. And you want to make a 2x1 square around this dirt and then continue this chamber all the way up until you're at your AFK platform. While I was building this up, you can see that more pillagers did spawn and they were pushed towards this area, which is exactly what we want. Once you've got your chamber built here, what you want to do is take 2 buckets of water and place it at the very top there, and then hop all the way down to the bottom here. And once this water finishes flowing down, what you want to do is take all of your kelp and, oh, that's not going to work with a sign. Sorry, we're going to have to temporarily break those signs. You want to take your kelp and place it going all the way up to the top of your chamber. This is going to create solid source blocks of water, which can then be turned into the bubble column. Once you've got all of your kelp placed, you can come back down to this area here, go ahead, break the kelp, and then what you want to do is replace these 2 dirt blocks with pieces of soul sand, and you'll see this has created a bubble elevator that'll shoot the pillagers all the way up to the top. Now one more thing that you have to do is come back down here, you can see they're still spawning, and place 4 signs on these spots. I did actually have the location of the signs wrong before, so make sure when you're doing it, the signs are like I show here. Now the pillagers are going to spawn here, they're going to go over to here, and eventually they're going to make their way into the bubble elevator. Now it's not 100% efficient, I know they do sometimes get stuck here, but eventually enough pillagers will spawn that they'll be pushed through, or they'll just walk through on the end and end up there anyways. If any of you can think of a better way to do this, let me know down in the comments and maybe I'll pin it to let other people know, but I just couldn't think of any more efficient way. Once you're finished with this part, we can go ahead back up to our AFK platform and we can get started on the next part of the build. Real quick, if you're ever noticing that your pillagers are not spawning, or if something's just going wrong, as you can see, mine are spawning down there, but sometimes they don't, what I like to do is turn my game into peaceful and then back into hard mode, and I also like to save and quit and then go back into the game. I don't know what it is, bug rock goes kind of crazy, but sometimes they just don't want to spawn. As you can see, they are. In my case though, they spawn up there and they get shot up this bubble elevator. But if they're not spawning, turn your game into peaceful, back into hard, and restart your game as well. For now, I'm going to turn my game into peaceful though, because if these guys kept getting pushed up here, it would make this next part really annoying to build. Now again, this next part doesn't have to be glass. I just like to use glass because I like to see what's going on in the area. What you want to do though is place 8 blocks like I do here, and then go ahead and place 2 more blocks on the front like that. Now what you want to do is go up 1 block and over 1 block, and then place 4 blocks just like that. Now coming down to this area here, you're going to want to go 1 block down and place 4 solid blocks there, and then surround this with some temporary blocks. Now what we're going to do is make the Trident killer that is going to kill not only these pillagers, but also the main raid. So the first thing you want to do is take a piston and place it on that piece of glass there. Turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston like that. Now take your observer and place it like that so the arrow is facing into the piston, and then again you want to do this for all 4 of the spots, so placing 1 right there, and then like that. And then the final thing you want to do is take a redstone torch and place it on the side of all 4 of your pistons. just like this. And once you finish doing that, the Trident killer is done, and you can see it gets pushed in a circle like this. You can now take a lever and place it on one of the pistons and flick it down to turn the Trident killer off for now. Now what you want to do is surround this Trident killer with your block just to make sure that none of the pillagers or items can escape, just like that. Once you've got this area done, come inside of here and place down 4 signs on these blocks, just like this. There we go. And then take 2 buckets of water and place it right there. Now what's going to happen is when the pillager spawns down here, he's going to be pushed up this bubble elevator. This water at the top is going to push him down into the Trident killer, where he's then going to be killed. We can collect the XP, and the drops are going to go down below into the chest. Once you're finished with this part, you can go ahead and break all of these temporary blocks that we have placed here. And now for the rest of this farm, no matter what we are using, if there is an exposed block on the top like this, you want to take some leaves and place it on top of these blocks. This is to make sure that no raid mobs can spawn outside of the farm, they all spawn inside. Now, I'm not 100% sure, I don't actually think they can spawn on glass, but when I was testing this, I had multiple times that the mobs would spawn on glass. The only thing that stopped them from spawning was leaves. So on every top surface of a block, you're going to want to have placed down a leaf like I have here. The next thing you want to do is come underneath of this 2x2 square that we've made here, build down 2 blocks, and then place a double chest right there. I highly recommend this as a double chest, and we are going to end up expanding this storage later because 1 chest is just not enough for this insane farm. Now what you want to do is break that leaf, place a hopper there, break that one, and then take a rail with a hopper minecart on that spot. Now what's going to happen when this Trident killer is on is a bunch of items are going to be dropped inside of here. They'll eventually be pushed by the pistons over top of this hopper minecart into the hopper, and all the items will end up inside of this chest. Now what you want to do is make yourself a little platform down here just so you can run around and actually collect the loot from the chest. Once you've got this platform built down here, go ahead and take some blocks and build them up to our platform here, remembering the top has to be made out of leaves, and then go ahead and take some ladders just so you can get up and down from the chest to this Trident killer here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and finish off this platform up here just so I have a little area to run around, just something like that. So now I can stand here to collect the XP, but then I can pretty easily drop down here to collect the loot. And if you're wondering, the farm so far should look like this. Now I feel like this is a great time to mention, if something's not working with your farm, if the dimensions aren't lining up, the pillagers aren't spawning, the raid isn't starting, anything like that, you could download this exact world that I'm playing on right now. It's the first link in the description. With that, let's get back to the video. Now the final thing you want to do for this part of the farm is come up here and throw a Trident inside of here. Now I'm going to throw 3 because this farm is really efficient, although you don't have to, 1 will be plenty. And now what you want to do is take your game off of peaceful into easy, normal, or hard. And as you're going to start to see, the pillagers will spawn down here, they'll get pushed up, they will die to this Trident killer, and all the ominous bottles will go inside of this chest. So as you're going to see, this guy will spawn, and like I mentioned, eventually he will walk up. Now this is it for the ominous bottle part. We are now going to get started on the raid farm part of the build, which is going to be built right on top of this. If you don't want the items to go into the same chest, what you can do is just build the raid farm somewhere over here in this direction and then have 2 separate chests. But for me, I like to have all of the ominous bottles and raid loot in 1 chest, so that's how I'm going to build it. Just a demonstration of how this works so you guys can see. This pillager captain has been pushed up here, killed by that Trident killer, and then his ominous bottle, like I mentioned, is going to go into this chest. I'm going to turn my game back into peaceful while I build the raid farm. And the first thing you want to do is build up 10 blocks off of this layer here. So that's going to be the first layer right there, and then go up 9 more to make it 10 blocks. Once you've got this chamber built up, go ahead and take 4 blocks and fill in the corners of the chamber like that. And now for me, I'm going to build the actual raid part in this direction, not over top of your platform, although it doesn't actually matter how it is. So the first thing you want to do is go to any one corner and build out 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then go to another corner like this and build out 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then connect those corners and make a big square, leaving this 2x2 hole open. Once you've got this platform built here, on the 2 walls that are touching your drop killing chamber, whatever you want to call it, you want to place a row of blocks on top of these blocks right here. So placing another one there. And then on the 2 walls that are not touching the hole, you want to go out 1 block and you want to extend this. So again, out 1 block and then extend it down like that. And then take this up 5 more blocks for a total of 6 blocks high. Once you've got this box built that's 6 blocks high, you want to go to the opposite side of your killing chamber, place down 3 blocks there, 2 there, and 1 just like that. You now want to take an infinite water source. You're going to want to make one, sorry, because we are going to need quite a few buckets of water for this next part. what you want to do is take 1 bucket of water and place it there, and then take more buckets of water and place 1 along each block on these 2 walls like that. And then you can go ahead and of course remove your infinite water source, and you should see the water flows perfectly and stops right before the edge. If it doesn't, make sure that these 2 stretches of blocks here are both 8 blocks long. Perfect, there we go. The next thing you want to do is come over to this corner here, count up 1 block and place a sign. 1 sign right there, and 1 sign right there as well. Then skip 1 block and place a sign right there, and a sign right there, and then take a bucket of lava and place it in the middle just like that. Now what you want to do is take a solid block, place it there, place a leaf on top of that solid block, and then another leaf on top of every single block that we've placed at the top here. Now that we've got this area done, the last thing we need to do is the villager area. So to do this, come underneath of the farm, and I'm going to build the villager house underneath of this area here, although you can do it on any side you want, it doesn't matter. What you want to do for this is come up to this top block here, count down 3 blocks, and then place 2 solid blocks there, with a bed on top of those solid blocks. You now want to break both of those, replace it with leaves, and then go ahead and extend that out 1 more. Now what you want to do is place 6 leaf blocks there, or 2 depending on if you filled in the corner, and then you're going to want to place 6 there as well. Now you want to take any workstation and place it in that wall with a torch on that workstation to make sure no mobs spawn inside of here and end up killing the villager. And now the final thing you need to do is get a villager inside of this area. Now I know it's complicated getting a villager all the way up here. You can push them into the bubble elevator, you can use a boat and a lead, a nether portal, anything like that. I showed all of those methods in the video. It's the 3rd link in the description or the top right of your screen right now. It's the time on screen of that video. If you want to check out easy ways to get your villager up here, go ahead and check that out right now. For the sake of the video, I'm just going to spawn my villager in. When you're doing it though, make sure he doesn't have a green jacket. Your villager should link to the workstation that you've placed down. So there you go. I should have a Fletcher because I placed down a fletching table. And now you can go ahead and fill in this box. And just like that, your entire fully automatic raid and ominous bottle XP farm is completed. One more thing I'm going to do really quickly is lower this platform up here. I don't like how high up it was. I like it being 1 more block down. There you go. This is not mandatory. You can just build this however you want. Design it, decorate it, make it look beautiful. But I think that is going to be perfect for me. And then just a way to get up and down from my chests. There we go. It's now time to do a test run at this farm and see the rates. First of all, you want to turn your game into hard mode. Hard mode gives the best drops for raids. Easy mode might not give totems. Normal won't give as much loot. Hard mode gives the most drops inside of a raid. So go ahead, turn your game on to hard mode. Now what you want to do is hop down here. I'm going to actually go into survival mode for this. You want to grab the ominous bottles from this chest that you gain from your pillagers down there, and then just go ahead and drink it. Now all you have to do is sit here. Once this effect wears away, the raid is going to start because of that villager there. All of the mobs are going to spawn up inside of there. They're either going to be killed up there or they're going to drop down inside of this area. As you can see, while I've been sitting here waiting for the raid to start, I've already gotten another ominous bottle in this chest. So when this next raid is finished, I can go ahead and drink this bottle and get another raid started already. Let's put this back inside of here for now. Now soon enough, there you go. As you can see at the top of my screen, the raid is starting. And now all I'm going to do is sit here and you're going to see the mobs will start to fall and die to this Trident killer. And if I go into creative mode just to show you guys how the farm works, like I mentioned, all the mobs are going to spawn up here, fall down that killing chamber, and then die to the Trident killer. Now let's go ahead and finish the rest of the raid. Alright, so you can see the raid has finished. I didn't have to do anything. Now if I go into survival mode really quickly, you guys can see all of the levels that I've gotten from that raid. Alright, pretty good, not bad. And now there's probably more up there too. If I drop down here, you can see I got a ton of totems here. And like I mentioned before, I have another Bad Omen ominous bottle that I can drink, and the next raid will start. And I can do this over and over and over as many times as you want. That's going to be all for this massive ultimate raid XP farm. Now guys, this took me quite a while to design, so if you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, you could download this exact world, just the first link in the description. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out. That's all for this 21 Best Farms Ultimate Guide video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And as well, you could download any of these worlds or watch the videos down in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out.